Hello, hello. It's me, Bodhi T, and welcome to the Bodhi T Show. I am your host, Bodhi T. And I have once again messed with the audio settings. Last stream, I noticed that I was actually quieter than the game, and I was fighting for supremacy on my own stream against the game, which was winning. So, I have once again messed around with the audio settings, and hopefully this time I am the one who is louder than both the game and the background music, which is currently in the background. Of course, after this stream I will be checking back to see, and hopefully things will solidify. I hope that this is actually the default configuration that I will be using henceforth, and I can actually continue and focus on other things rather than reading the same tutorial 12 times over and editing the audio settings appropriately, and then fiddling with them, and then changing them, and then making them worse, and then going back. It is an arduous process, but hopefully this is the end of it. New streamer, new scuff, and we are dealing with it as it comes. Yes. But without further ado, it is Roadwarden Friday, July the 5th. Remember the 5th of July? Who knows? Point is, we got diplomacy due messages to send and hopefully spiders to avoid. Because last time we died to one, and that's no good. Transition. Yes. Forgot to press the button. Let's see here. Pause that right quick, and game overlay, Roadwarden. There we go. And we're in business. To walk into the fogs, to die mysteriously. As we found out, fog is filled with magic that resurrects corpses. It's very fun. Let us enter into the realm of settings. And yeet. I believe that is good. All right. Shows a bit of fluff whenever the game is launched. Skips right to the main menu. Tutorials, narration, text speed. What narration? What narration? Oh, you mean when it shows off? Yes, fair enough. I think this is fine. And so we continue. Right. So, last time we finally found Howler's Dell. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna call it Dell. Ah, the Dusk Fox's shelter, yes. The small hamlet inhabited by furry critters. Right. So, on the docket, let's see here. What was my journal say? I have to leave the peninsula on the 40th day. Secure the roads. Set a large village that uses necromancy. It was probably those hooded guys that I encountered on the road. The abandoned village in the south may be a useful spot for future settlers. I should figure out why it was ruined. I met Eudocia, a skilled enchantress who lives near the western road. The guild could benefit from her powerful golems. Yes, let's militarize the wizard. Ah yes, this one. Until I learn more about the raids from the northern villages, White Marshes, Gale Rocks, and Creeks. Creeks had no issues with the bandits. Alright, so I need to go to White Marshes and Gale Rocks. Please tell me I have that located on the map. Foggy Lake, old bridge, abandoned watchtower. The ruins. So that's the creeks. So I guess no. Do I need any rest and recuperation? No, but I do need to start a new day. What does Akakios, the trader, say? The man behind the counter is inspecting a sack of white flour, mumbling to himself and occasionally cursing. The other locals walk away, giving you space to talk, trade in peace. Weevils, he points at a little dark blue insect that's trying to flee. Shit me fire, 'twas good a few days ago. Nay pies for us tomorrow, looks like. He puts the sack on the ground. I'll take care of it later. A Roadwarden, eh? Eva the mayor. Cared enough to see you, and kids are lining up to look at your horse. Strangers are like ghosts to them now. He's wearing a simple brown robe with no hood or rope instead of a belt, and a modest trim made of green thread. It barely reaches below his knees, revealing his sandals and crude pants made of linen. At the same time, it's way too large for him and hangs from him like a bag. He looks like a poor vendor from Hovleven. He stands sideways to you. Be supportive and cordial. I'm not here to I'm here to trade, not talk. Are you a barrel collector, or do you sell them? I may not be wealthy, but I need a few things. Yes. What can we do with a drunken sailor? I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm not rich, but I need to spend. He raises his eyebrow. I can tell you've been looking for them for quite some time. Everyone brings here what they have in abundance, and I either sell it to travelers or divide it among the workers, builders, artisans. These things here are mine. He runs his eyes over the crates and barrels, but I can show you our wares if you want. But if you can offer something, I'm not going to haggle. I need to explain myself for every deal I make, or Thais will laugh at me all the way to the pyre. Oh, she's gonna burn you alive. I don't think she has the stomach to burn her own people alive. Can you sell me some money? I'm being bothered by the howlers. Any way to plug my ears? Just avoid them. He cuts off a few chunks of wax, removes the wick, and gives them to you. Here, roll these in your hands, warm them up, and make any shape you want. Yay, I got... What did I get? Oh yeah, I have to put bronze rods all over the place as beacons for the golems. Classic troll piss. I bring goods to sell. Nope. Anything for a traveler? New trader unlocked. 'Tis hard to say what the travelers need. Oh my god. He clears his throat and turns away to look at his stone. While some of the crates and barrels are empty, they carry an assortment of odds and ends. Tools made of stone pots, mugs, seeds, vegetables, fabric. It takes him a few minutes to look through the wares. He puts 3 packets on the countertop and he unwraps the first one. You recognize it by the shape alone. Tell me this is beauty. He chuckles and lets you hold the shiny battle axe. The man chuckles. You like it? I doubt you can afford it, but how you would it? I should have. His long fingers tap against the parchment windows of a lantern. Its frame is cheap, made of oak. 'Tis clear, it is quiet. He says while shaking it in the air. "Nae as fancy as the iron ones with oil, but you can carry it in case without luring all the corpse eaters and goblins. Perfect for a traveler. Just take a look." Why? Why has my facial detection decided to not detect my facial features? Yeah, it's busted apparently. That's strange. We must troubleshoot. How does one troubleshoot this? By restarting it. Oh. Just pressing the wrong button. There we go, it's fixed. Yay, we have resolved some scuff. Right. Where were we? We usually keep them from trade. The last sack is as wide as a saddle and 3 hands full. It contains a whole bunch of undyed linen sheets. We usually keep them for traders, but we could use a few dragon rings, and who knows if there's ever going to be a next caravan. It gives you a long look. Interested? Depends on what you want for it. A light sharp axe with head made of steel that is 15 times what I currently own in terms of money. I walk away. I leave the square. I head to Bion, the tailor. We follow the guard's direction and reach a whitewashed building standing on the eastern bank next to a small garden of flowers and herbs. It's well kept and clean, with a plain, beaten front yard and parts covered with sand. Through the open windows, you catch a glance of the furniture made of smooth, almost shiny wood with hints of dark cherry-like red, decorated with carvings of plants. A woman in her 40s is sitting on a wooded bench, and the table is covered with fabrics. Threads and needles made of bone and iron. She's sewing a long sleeve to what's going to become a blue tunic. I'm looking for my gambeson needs some work. You take it off and point to a few aberrations. The woman follows your finger patiently. I take it from the... I take it from 2 to 5 dragon rings for fixing jackets, but you will need get anything more from this one. To get it truly strong for longer, I'd need it to be made better materials like spider silk. Actually, I have some spider silk with me. Would you like to buy it? You show her the wrapped stick, and without asking, she takes one of the shorter threads and starts to stretch it. She nods. I do! What do you want, the dragon rings or a better jacket? You ask her for the details, and she loses more of her patience with every breath. 10 rings for the thread, or give me 2 hours now. I'll put some of it here. She vaguely points at bits of your gambeson to make it stronger and easier to wear. Now that is an excellent question. I have one pouch. I have a pouch of single coin, but I can sell the silk for 10. Or I can get a stronger armor. So I can get 4 out of 4 armor. But being completely bereft of coin, is that truly a worthwhile endeavor for one such as myself? I'm going to say no, so I'm going to get coin. Dragons are always welcome. 10 coin. She moves on the bench, uses the table to stand up, then hops away on her only leg and enters the house for about a quarter of an hour. You hear her jumps, the voice of another woman, and even pushed furniture. When she gets back, her face is red and sweaty. She sits down at her spot and puts the loose coins on the tabletop. "Found them," she mutters. Before you can put them in your pouch, she returns to her previous work. "I'm interested in a new set of clothes." She stops her work and looks at you briefly. I can tell. You don't wear even a hint of mockery. But that's a lot of work. And I didn't take my work lightly. If I were to give you anything, people would see it. And I'll let you show them some rags. Let's discuss the rags. Ooh, that is a lot of rags. Alright, fair enough. I need a lot of coins, it would appear. Good luck. To the priests! You head south of the dead tree in the main square before you get to the second thatched building. A large man stands up from a bench and gets in your way. He's close to 50, taller than most people you've seen in your life, broad-shouldered. His hair and short beard are brown, matching his elegant woolen robe. A thick club is attached to his right wrist with a leather strap. He left his sandals by his sitting spot. One second. Many want to speak with our guides and teachers. He speaks with a solemn, strong voice. But you're no welcome here. Turn back, stranger. I'm your new Roadwarden. Are you sure there is no soul here that needs my assistance? His harsh look softens. We can handle ourselves. That changes. Help us, I'll summon ye. Alright. Cool. Get to the main square. It's beautiful. I leave the square. Right. I need accommodation. Because I refuse to leave when there's 5 hours till dusk. The innkeeper, Eric's. Even though the counter stands outdoors, it's not rotten or dirty, and you guess, like the other furniture, it's brought inside every night. Eric's approaches you with a smile and leans on its surface with his fists. He's portly and even taller than his neighbors. He's got freckles, short gray hair, and an elegant beard. His long woolen orange tunic has a decorative cut right under the neck, and loose braids and edges. How can I help you, traveler? His accent is heavy. Wait, let me try again. How can I help you, traveler? His accent is heavy, nothing like his wife's. He stomps with a heavy boot and looks around as if he's just waiting to get back to his other tasks. His fingers are still dirty from weeding the garden. I gotta help you, traveler. He's Arnold now. I could use a room. Sure thing, he nods. Ma keeps it clean. If I didn't say it, just tell me the right. Games are meant to be fun, and if this is how I have fun, then so be it. Do you have any food rations I could perchance purchase? I keep them in the house, smoke my sack, dried fruits, nuts, biscuits. We have fresh and pay with work, and coins are now worth much. When he thinks, his lips move as well. Let's say I won't have enough food to fill you for 2 days. In Hovlaven, that kind of price would buy you 3, even 4 times as much food. Hovlaven is so great. Everything is better in Hovlaven, and we constantly need to compare the world to Hovlaven. That's where we come from, and we need to negotiate with these peasants to let us barter with their goods and services because we're Hovlaven and we're so cool. The world belongs to Hovlaven. If you're in the mood for Spaniard, I also have them specials. Give me a minute. He goes upstairs and returns with a small wooden box and a hand-long leather sheath. It's a teeth set. You're afraid of what he's going to show you, but he opens the box, you realize he meant teeth cleaning. See? He points at 3 different compartments. Salt, cloves, and mint. You mix whatever you want. The 4th holds only a small pestle made of polished stone. He's giving me a dental set. Seeing you're not convinced, he takes a deep breath. Well, outside he's bathing out of clique. I'm giving 2 dragons will ask me kids to get in shape. I'll get a tub with soap and rose oil, and they'll wash your clothes in water. I'll cook you something nice as much as you can eat. Show me those rations first, you thespian. 2 filling meals, which won't spoil anytime soon. In an hour, you'll get as much food as you can eat with proper bath and laundry. A set that can help you keep your teeth clean. Am I really willing to spend 5 coin in total? You know what? Let's go for hygiene. Add the teeth cleaning set to your equipment. 7 dreams of a healthier smell. He rubs his hands, but before you can take it, he puts the box in front of you. I've got the heads and the twigs and the sea sheath. You replace them in the taste that you're looking for. Apple tree. He disappears for a few minutes and returns with a couple of twigs, which he puts into the sheath. What else do you need? I need a few rations. And by rations, I mean a bath and dinner. You don't keep track of time, easing your soul with warm water and whiffs of oil. You are served with raw cabbage, head, a smoked quail wing, and a cup of yogurt. While the youngsters wash your clothes in the stream, after an hour you return to Eric's. That didn't do what I thought it would do. Thanks! Now, where do I go for sleep? I require sleep. People are more willing to trust you. You're clean and tidy. You seem healthy. Your clothes are torn and worn. Do you know Eudocia, the enchantress? I'd like to hang this rod on a watchtower for her. You let her weigh the rod in her hand. It's empty, she says. What is it for? It's meant to help her golems cover longer distances without going crazy. She gives you a long look, then rolls the piece of bronze back to you. The answer is no. And if any of us find such a rod in our woods, you and I are going to have a talk. I have no desire to wake up in the middle of the night surrounded by our stone army. See? I'm not the only one that had those reservations when I first spoke to her. Have you heard of the necromancers in the north? She taps her fingers on the table. Yes, I have. After you ask her to tell you more, she seems to regain her confidence. You mean White Marshes for sure? I don't know all that much about what's happening there. We avoid their lands if we can. She frowns. I shouldn't gossip about it with strangers. We can talk about it on another occasion. Sure. Thank you for your time. How do I sleep? Oh yeah, I need to wait actually. So how do I spend time? Leave the square. Wait, there we go. Wait until evening. It's evening. Go to the main square. Sleep. Yes. Okay, so I messed up immediately. Yeah. Can I roll back? I can see why I'm constantly broke. I'm still not good at figuring out the mechanics of the game. And I'm full on everything. I guess I'm tidy. Your own room? You know what. What's the point of having all these resources if I cannot spend them? As shivers wake you up, you open the window and see the dense fog covering Howler's Creek. Spreading like milk throughout the entire village, you hear an amused quarrel coming from the main square and spot the dancing light of torches and lanterns, yet the village remains calm and asleep. Fogs tend to get more common in late summer, but the tribes of the Dragonwoods often see them as a bad sign. The wild spirits they carry are believed to impact both the visible and the invisible, and not in ways that help humankind. I sigh. If there's any undead in these woods, the fog will strengthen them. It's true, it's true. Your first sleep ends, but your usual 1-hour break is instantly disrupted by noise. You stand up, walk to the window, and see the reason for the commotion. A group of workers is just outside the inn, drinking and laughing. Eric's, the innkeeper, is also among them. You could join them, but if you do, you won't get a good sleep tonight, and after such a long day, you may end up exhausted. I'm good. During your time in Hovleven, you learn to ignore drunken crowds. You can relax and return to your routine. I sharpen my blade and go back to sleep. It is time to slumber and... Yes, there we go. You don't stand out from the crowd. You won't get much cleaner without a proper bath. You seem healthy. Your clothes are worn and torn. Right, now would have been a good time to... The trader is not around. I sit at the table and wait for him. I need a few rations. Laundromat me. Yeah, okay, that's what I did wrong. Okay, now I'm out of money. Leave the square. Time to travel. Look at all these traveling points, right? So it said that the place is north, therefore I believe the old tunnel shall lead me to where I need to go. We proceed. The detour is not as smooth as the main road. The wagon could make it... A wagon could make it through, but even so, you have to squeeze between some narrow corridors, hoping no beast is going to jump at you from a ledge. You walk, leading your mount with an axe in your hand. In the middle of the road, after reaching one of the higher hills, you take a glance ahead. Even from here, you see the sun reflecting from the ocean, but there's also a pillar of smoke coming from the distant west. There may be a volcano somewhere behind the horizon, but you can't tell if it's a part of the peninsula or maybe a yet stranger land. Once you get to the other side of the mountain, you find the northern entrance to the tunnel, blocked by a large bronze gate so tall and wide you're not sure if it's something you can open with your muscles alone. There's a keyhole as well, as large as your hand. I'm surprised no soul tried to steal the door yet, or someone tried but failed. Unlocking the tunnel would save me a lot of time. Can I unlock the oh, hello. And already I have 4 hours left until the bad stuff arrives. You get a good look at the village from a distant hill. It's torn between taming the crags and succumbing to their whims. The grey boulders are like the rotting teeth of a giant, sprinkled around by an ancient spirit. The carved cave mouths are covered with wooden doors. There are only a few windows, and you can only imagine how dark and cold the gouged-out rooms have to be. The building and walls, made of logs or stone blocks, must be much younger than the caves. The impressive whitewashed keep, standing on the road of the hill in the west, could just as well have been built in the city. Smoke rises from both sides of the wild river. You see many busy souls as they go about moving tools, food, and timber over the bridge. Your arrival to the eastern gate causes some curious glances. But the only person who approaches you is a man who is sitting at a table discussing something with a few elders. He's carrying a crossbow on his back and a long rusty knife at his side, but doesn't reach for them. It must be a guard. I dismount. The man has to be older than 40. He wears an elegant blue-green linen tunic, but no armor. His skin is yellowish like seaweed seen through a sunbeam. His long gray hair is tied in a ponytail, and his beard is trimmed to half a finger of length. A few large cysts make him look sickly, but his powerful, truculent voice adds to him strength and confidence. Cheers, stranger. You've reached Gale Rocks, you did. He observes your mount, then looks at the path behind you. I see no caravan from here. Are they coming? He suddenly meets your eyes, and his tone gets even harsher. Or are you here to idle about? I listen to the nearby conversations. You have to get used to some of the local words and phrases that you've only heard coming from the mouths of the oldest of city folk. The vast similarities to the tongue of Havlaven only make these differences more distracting. Be the Roadwarden and go 5 minutes without mentioning Havlaven. For a guy who wants to leave his old life behind, he sure is talking up his old city a lot. Right. Don't worry, friend. Yeah, no. I'm a Roadwarden. I'm here to solve problems, not cause them. Another Roadwarden? All of them parents in the South too dumb to teach their kids how to keep their fingers in their own pots? He shakes his head with exaggerated motions and looks at the elders at the table. A Roadwarden, see that? Trying to cut the conversation short, you lead Dave inside, but you're stopped right away. Leave it by the walls until it's nightfall, right? We ain't cleaning our roads after any drifters, bards, or adventurers. He speaks with growing disgust. Don't worry, we'll keep an eye on it. You tether your horse to the stems of a shrub, and the man nods with approval and turns around. Can you tell me anything about the village? He stops in place and glances at your boots. Right. We fish, we salt fish, we sell fish. Our brave ones trade barrels for whatever we can get out of the other villages, but... He shrugs. Not much else to it, you see. Life here is slow. Without another word, he returns to the group of elders where he helps one of them remove bones from their meal. You go too. I'm looking for someone. Which person are you looking for? What was his name again? Journal. Show me the journal. Asterion. Yay. Right, you're wardening, friend. A guard you speak with doesn't hide her contempt. We ain't been here for many days, but since the start of the season. You ask where you could find him, but she gives you a bored shrug and walks away. You ask other folks as well, but they don't have much more to say. He suddenly freezes. The last soul suddenly freezes and looks around. We are the last people to ask, I mean. You try to push him into sharing more, but he finds an escape when his overseer shouts at him to get his ass moving. Right. I'm looking for someone else. Journal. Oh yeah. Glaucia. She's not here. Ain't been in many months. She's an animal keeper. Says an animal keeper. Right, if you want to speak with her, find her on your own. You ask in a few other places as well, and while everyone seems to confirm these words, you notice that you don't have to explain who she is, even once. Ah, so she's a popular face around town. Anybody else? What was his name? I guess he doesn't have a name. And you find no one. You either don't find them or I can't understand you. What do you mean Sans Undertale is not in this village? Alright, the gatekeeper. The guard you met when you first arrived at the village is leaning against the wall, observing both the gates and your mount. Whenever Dave snorts, the gatekeeper reaches for his axe. He sighs when he notices your gaze. Whoa! In most settlements, people are much more hospitable. He gives you an irritated glance, then stares into the river. Most settlements have fewer memories of getting robbed by drifters or of wasting their time on good-for-nothing adventurers. All them free souls think they have the right to our patience and care as if they're some saviors of ours, each one of them. Well, we've been beating this land for centuries with Wright's help and the patience of our forebearers. And if anyone wants our respect, they'd better work for it. Then you notice that getting away with theft must not be an easy task, he answers slowly. Don't get any weird ideas, outsider. It's not easy to disappear in the hills or at the crossroads. We've got to be vigilant. More than our allies, the stonecutters at Old Pagos. They can't let themselves be more open to strangers. They have neighbors, gentler roads, and less of a wall to defend. I walk away. Is there really... Where am I? Gale Rocks, okay. So, in my journal... Which one was it? I guess. They won't answer my questions until I learn more about the raids from the northern villages. Okay, well, I'm at Gale Rocks. But I don't have any notes on Gale Rocks, which makes me believe... Okay. The locals claim they haven't seen Glaucia, but everyone recognizes her name. The locals scowl at me when I ask them about Asterion. Guess it's time to proceed. Proceed. The coast. I've reached the coast. The roars of the sea reach you first, then the cold wind and the light. There are hardly any shrubs nearby. As you ride downhill towards the white and gold beach, the sun beaches hit you with full force. And there we go. The sea here is not like the one from Havlaven's port. Havlaven, which has everything. Except good trade routes, apparently. The harbor and waters... The harbor and waters most people see during their busy days are full of life. Ships, warehouses, traders, dockers, and of course there's Sickle, the barrier island that provides the city with its lagoon. But also serves as a home to dozens of species of birds, monkeys, and rodents. For most people, the sea is never silent. But if one travels to Sickle and looks west, or embarks on a boat... Yada 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 yada. Here, however, the water can't be separated from the rocks that cut through it. Like a swarm of mushrooms in a dark forest, their shapes and sizes vary. But it's their number that makes them unusual. If you were to name each one, you'd have to make up at least half of the names. There's no doubt where the name Gale Rocks comes from. The stones piercing through the surface of the water are shaped like beast fangs, as if they're asking the ships to dare to test their strength. Where it's possible, I keep to the greener parts of the beach. Sand is awful for hooves. You follow the sharp turn to the right. The road remains broad enough for carts and wagons. It avoids the sands, letting Dave trot without disturbances. The grasses to the east and south are short, and hardly any shrubs have managed to oppose the harsh winds. The human activity witness is intense. A large barge is resting on the river, immobilized by the ropes and wooden posts. And you see a few people foraging at the beach and the grasses. Even more people, most of them without wrinkles, are gathered at the pier, where they prepare their boats and nets, and talk about their plans for the following hours. You reach the end of the beaten path, getting to the stone-made pier, just next to a small, dolmen-shaped shed. Only the door seems to be fairly new. And you don't doubt that both of the structures have been repaired many times in the past, crumbling under the touch of waves. I head to the fishers. You approach a group of workers standing in front of the shed. Photios is there, one of them tells you, and points at the tallest man dressed in undyed wool and linen. He's discussing something with a group of workers, but as you head in his direction, he nods for you to join him on the side. His outfit is heavy. Appropriately for someone who spends long hours under the hits of the cold onshore winds. The massive leather boots, thick tunic and pants, and the heavy cloak now held under his arm make you wonder if he'd even be able to swim. Like most sea folk, he has long limbs, almost no facial hair, and ears so flat they are hardly noticeable. Okay. His neck draws your eyes. It's covered with marks left by the burning suckers of a sea monster, as wide as your finger is long. Below these scars, he's wearing a pendant made of a fist-sized black beak. That's probably the beak of a sea creature of some description. He speaks first with the strong and confident voice of a young man no older than 25. We don't really sell any catch on our own. Maybe ask our smokers or the cook. That's fine. I was hoping to speak with you. And who are you exactly? After you introduce yourself, the man raises a corner of his mouth in an angry grimace. I won't have much to tell you, Roadwarden. Like my neighbors. He looks at the nearby fishers. I struggle with day-to-day living. I do. Not adventures. And even less so, outsider schemes. Okay. I approach the pier. I don't need the pier. Right, okay, well, that's that. Time to go to Foggy Lake and sleep. Or wait for an hour. I enter the tavern. I'm looking for work. Check on old Pagos. I somehow doubt you're here to forage for me, love. Not that I have any room for another soul, let me think. The folks at Old Pagos are weirdly quiet. They were supposed to drop 2 wagons of rocks at my place. Can you check on them? Just find out if they're fine. You mentioned the payment. It won't take much work from a rider. You can get there and back in less than a day. Just ride west of here until the road takes you south to the crossroads. Turn west again. You'll find the village. I'll give you, let's say, a dragon bone. What can you tell me about Old Pagos? It may be one of the oldest villages in the north, but even if not, it's safe with strong walls and safe roads. Their crops are weak, but for generations now they've been cutting stone and building for other tribes in exchange for supplies. Some time ago they tied themselves to the monks, and now they don't look kindly on those who don't follow the orders of truth. She pauses, twisting her lips to one side, choosing her words carefully. But they're plenty fine folks. True believers, something lost in this city, not ones to deal with slave trading and pillage. I'll let you know if I learn anything. Time to go. I wash myself in the lake. You enter the bridge and move to its edge. Somewhere below you notice a glimmer. Hey you, step back, run. Without even thinking, you leap towards the yard. A long, teeth-filled mouth breaks through the water surface, splashing it in every direction and bites the empty place where you were just standing, while the front limbs, thick-scaled and ending with claws as large as your fingers, land on the wood. One of the saurian's yellow eyes notice that you're outside of its reach. It nonchalantly slides into the lake. I almost got mauled by wild beasts. Hooray! And continuing onwards. Now stay away. Don't want to die. Wait. Wait until evening. Sleep. Time to sleep in the attic. Your sleep gets distorted by the foul smell coming from your bundles. The raw fish meat is now rotting. Oh. I throw it somewhere where it won't bother anyone and get back to sleep. Oops. I forgot that, well, I don't really need food, so... You try to look outside, but to no avail. Even the predators will spend the next few hours hidden, unsure what surrounds their shelters and hideouts. Not all of them, though. You hear a cheerful howling coming from the heart of the forest. A hunt queen, or maybe a hunt lord, has already captured its next meal. Oh, bully! I'd like to eat. Inventory. Yes, my supplies have dwindled due to my negligence. This game is kicking my ass. How very unfortunate. Right, it's time for me to go. How many days? Oh, it's day 9. Day 9. A wonderful commentator, that one. Right, so this is the crossroads, so you head west at the crossroads. But what villages do I need to examine? White marshes. Where are white marshes? Well, it's in the north, and this is as north as one goes. So... maybe I can go north and upwards? If I find old Pagass, that's also worthwhile as well. You cross a clean, shallow, yet wide creek that runs south. And then follow an uphill path squeezed between the hills and a lush forest. You spend a good couple of minutes passing a haunting meadow filled with dozens, maybe 100 cut-down trees, now overgrown by bushes and grass. You can't think of another time when you've seen a clearing of such size. The locals are surely ambitious. Once the clearing ends and turns into a corridor, once the clearing ends and turns into a corridor of trees and hills, you stop your horse. There's a monster in the middle of the road, reaching out with its long arms to grab and devour fruits and leaves from the tree crowns, chewing them without haste. It's standing on its hind legs and leaning on a thick tail. As there isn't much hair on its gray skin, you see its impressive muscles. The beast is 3 times the size of a human. Okay. And while each move it makes is slow, its long claws and the ease with which it breaks one of the branches make you think that a single swing would be enough for it to pierce through your jacket, or, just as likely, that it would simply break your bones and send you into the air. What is this, a Skyrim giant? Like most people, you know quite a bit about pebblers. Once they get used to an unfenced farm or a forest garden, getting rid of them can be a huge issue. There aren't many blades able to cut through their thick skin and bones, and a single mistake may put them into a furious charge, encouraging them to look for human dwellings, which they can tear down in revenge. The beast doesn't give you as much as a glance, but also doesn't move away. The best you can hope for is that you're going to walk away, that it's going to walk away on its own. Maybe tomorrow, maybe later. I return to the crossroads. The game is telling me, no, you don't get to go there. Not yet. What about over here? Okay. The corridor of leaves and gray rocks leads you to a gate. A large enough for a wagon, held together by a wooden bar. The planks and rocks are covered with claw marks left by various monsters, but they weren't able to damage the wall as much as the passage of time and the piercing rains. A large man, covered in shadows, is observing you from the roof tower. His voice is hoarse and distrustful. You lost? I don't know, you mug. I'm a Roadwarden. Let me ride through. I'll only ask once. I mean, he has the high ground, so fighting him would not be advantageous to my cause. I'm Bodhi, the new Roadwarden, and you're the gatekeeper, I assume. Oh yeah, just on duty and armed, so you know. He lifts a loaded crossbow and sticks it out of the shadows. But I'm no enemy of yours. He leaves the tower. He's wearing a black gambeson, so ragged it can't be fastened anymore. It tells a story of claws, thorns, and improvised repairs. The hole in the man's hemp pants reveals a scraped knee. It's hard to tell his age through his exhausted, sleepy eyes, a short, unkempt beard, and a bandage horizontally covering his ears, and the spot that used to be his nose. There's clotted blood in his brown hair, and mud on his clothes and brown neck. Despite all this, he's of a huge shell, with wide shoulders and thick legs. He straightens up. So, a warden, you new to the job? Pretty new. You chose a shite place then, this gate here. He kicks a brick with his heel. It's older than me, all there. It's older than me, all there. He points behind him with his weapon. Wilds and beasts, my tribe built this place to keep them away from us, and us from them. He scratches the bandage on his cheek. Name's Quintus from Old Pagos. Oh, it's Quintus. I love you, Quintus. Quintus is a great name. Been there? Not yet. So, you know, it's west from here, behind the crossroads, but it's touched by sickness. We used to send one soul here every morning to escort them back before nightfall, but some days ago no one came for me. I spent a night here. Sneaking wolf shits almost got me. Sneaking wolf shits, eh? He picks up an almost empty water skin from behind a parapet and takes a sip. I went home by myself only to learn about the sick. I've been here ever since. What do you know about the plague? Not much. It kills, that's all there is to know. My tribe's smart locking the gate. The right gave me strength. Oh, the right gave them strength. Of course it did. The beautiful right. Shouldn't you look for a real shelter? He trembles, his eyes widen. Someone has got to stay at the gate. The villagers in the east don't know about the illness. They may try crossing the woods. Hit the closed gate while fleeing some wolves and stuff. He rubs his dirty neck. And I also can't leave the gate open. It's like a dam for monsters. If all I can do is choose the way I die, this is it. With my duty fulfilled. I'm surprised you survived for this long. Well, you can call it surviving, I call it potions. His chuckle makes him wince in pain. He puts a hand on his stomach and leans away. Beasts took me for easy prey, but the good monks from the mountains equipped our guards well. Their helping are ill, but used to brew all sorts of stuff. His hand moves to an earthenware bottle by his belt. Could at least spend the nighttime in one of the villages. He adjusts his jacket by shaking his shoulders, making the buckles jingle. I'm not a beggar, and the villages in the north won't help me for more than a day or two. I've got no dragon bones, just this little ibex. He pats his crossbow. Old Pagos is by itself. We don't look for kind folks. He thinks for a moment. I'll just wait. I'll get back home once the plague's done, or before winter. You look at his disfigured face. He's either mad or dumb. He may be a bit too proud, but he knows more about the locals than I do. He glances at Dave. You understand, I'm sure, wardens are souls of duty. So about this gate. Here, see? He points at the long twisted rope that hangs from an iron hook. Oh. I could climb down and remove the beam from the other side. Take down yours. You need at least 3 hours to get through the woods. He touches his stomach and takes a deep breath. But I need you to give me aught first. What do you want? I'm hungry. Bring me some rations, maybe. Dried meat, apples, nuts, maybe. He sizes you up. 5 meals, then I'll help you with the gate. He wants 5 meals out of me. Well, I had fish, but it became rotten fish. And I had to throw it away. Don't you have time to hunt? Time? But I've got to stay here near the gate. I can't keep people waiting while I track deer. He touches the bandages on his face, and if I die, there'll be no keeper left. I'll go with you. I take the trophies, you get the meat for roasting. But goblins and trolls can smell the burning fat. Roasting is the opposite of what I should do. You can just forage for nuts and berries. I eat berries and sorrel every day, but this isn't real food, and I've got to fight off all the snakes and badgers. Nuts are nowhere around. Too many squirrels, rats, and boars. He licks his lips at the very thought. I found some acorns, but I had never roasted them before, and they make me sick. Sure, I'll bring you some food. I've heard about some bandits. Were they bothering you? He scratches the bandage on his cheeks. I only know there's one band somewhere, but not around. I never saw them. Why are you afraid of Glossia? He straightens up and gives you a long look. I don't know who you're talking about. Right, so I need to give him 5 food rations before he can actually give me information. I'm looking for a Asterion. That's nice, but he hasn't been here in many days. You sure he's not dead? After you admit that he very much may be, he puts his a hand on his waist. Well, better get ready to slit open every dragon belly in the wilds. And did he often travel through the woods? Sure, though on a different mount. He had a saurian 4 ibexes long. Ah, 2 ibexes tall. It moves on 4 legs and jumps high and far. It's a dark green, like rotten leaves. At one time, I was taking a piss in the shrubs and a Asterion made the beast run up the rock face, and it jumped on that. He points at the hill. And like, they ran above the wall and landed on the other side just like that. He snaps his fingers. His voice and eyes gain a new vigor. You say the saurian was large and green? I mean, not everywhere, he points at his eyebrows. He has red scales here on the tail and shoulders, I think. I don't know what to call it. You ask him a bit about Asterion, and he has little to add. There used to be 6 of us keepers. I saw him every now and then, but not that often. Do you know Eudocia the Enchantress? I was wondering if you could place this in your tower for her. You unpack and show him the rod. Lighter than it looks, he says quietly. And I know Eudocia. She always does aught weird. She was a quiet kid, but a smart one. Never tried to steal my milk. He hands it back to you and puts it on an unpleasant smirk. But I'm doing not for free. Good lord. I need to find a village to feed him with. Bring me 6 rations, some tasty ones. My people won't be happy that I'm doing favors for a dissenter. I don't mean you. He clears his throat after seeing your look. I better get strong before I start making excuses. No. Alright, fair enough. Ooh boy. Right, so gate. And what's over here? You're not used to the sense of the bogs? Oh, does this mean this is where white marshes are? And you weren't expecting them to be so gentle. The humid air makes you think of smoked meat, and even though you ride by a few rotting carcasses and animal droppings, just as often you cross tiny meadows of pink, yellow, and red flowers. The noises tell stories of never-ending wars between the swarms of insects, frogs in their hideouts, snakes lurking among the purple grasses, birds patrolling both the water and the sky, and the saurians preparing to strike from beneath the surface. You can't separate the sounds of the living from those of the dying. If they're even different at all. You reach a boulder in the middle of the road. On the edge of a large pond, the road splits from here in 2 directions, but the only smoke you see is in the southeast. From the saddle I see no creatures standing in my way. That's good. This way. The leafless plants resemble tree roots rather than creepers, even though they're dark green and sway from side to side slightly. Dave stops without command, unwilling to approach the nightmarish gate. There's no other path in sight. I approach the creepers with a drawn axe. I pick up some branches and throw them at the creepers. What are creepers? In this context, of course. Bestiary. There are no creepers. Either that or I'm blind. I do not believe I am blind. Throw them at the creepers. You step among the muds and grasses, but some desperate creatures scrape this land clean of any wood they could eat. It takes you a few moments before you find any that doesn't fall apart under your touch. Once it hits the creepers, they bend backwards swiftly, then try to reach you with a loud swish. Getting a bit longer as they repeat this attempt a few times. You tell your mount to step away, but the plants don't chase after you. Examine the water. The dirty ponds are hard to see through. You jump back, dodging the strike of a green saurian. You run away quickly, so it gives its pursuit up. You can't get through the creepers. Great! The road takes you to the edge of the woods. A few trees have found lucky scraps of soil towering above the water, while others, shorter and not as lush, have roots sunk in the pond. Some of the plants were felled with tools, so the root itself isn't so dark. While the few sunbeams getting through the weaker branches on your left are surrounded by darkness and swarms of insects. Help me, help! The sudden cry, as well as screams of pain, reaches you from between the trees. A woman or a child? I dismount and grab my axe. You lean towards the pond. It's cleaner than the other parts of the bog, allowing you to see the bottom. Parts of it are still more than knee-deep, and the sulfuric odor makes you step away with a frown. The brownish color can't hide all the bones and plant remains that are sticking out of the bed. I take off everything below my waist? Oh boy. You undo your boots and buckles, then hang your pants on the saddle. As your naked skin touches the water, you expect it to be more like a slime, but nothing of the sort happens. Only your eyes and nose notice the difference between this place and a regular pond. The cold water makes you shiver. The voice doesn't stop. You gather your bravery and move forward. I have the feeling that this is a plant that has learned to mimic human speech to lure in victims. Disturbing the sediment so much that it forms a cloud of mud after every step. You run into the trees. I follow the voice like an idiot. It leads you deeper into the trees. You think it's coming from one of the larger plants, with a crown so dense you can barely see anything between the branches. Something lands on your back and you plunge into the water, getting pinned down to the mud by massive paws. You're choking, hearing only splashes. I need to get out of the water. The cat's legs are bent, ready to jump. Wide and muscular, its eyes staring at you without a blink, are round and yellow, with pitch black irises in the center. It's waist high, with its chin hanging just above the water, and the jaw that could bite off your limb in a heartbeat. It has short hair and whiskers, and a nose as big as your hand. Even without the dirt, it's almost black, with glimpses of yellow that form a rose-like pattern on its sides and dots on its head. You can't see the creature's paws through the now clouded water. The cat lets out a growl, like a saw cutting a log. It's unscathed, confident. I take a defensive stance. Oh boy. When you hear the flapping of wings, it's already too late. Bird talons sink into your shoulder, and once you get distracted, the cat darts forward, reaching for your thighs. You evade its first strike, but then it pushes your stomach away with its huge paw, cutting through the armor. Before you can reach it with your blade, it's already out of your range. Your gambeson keeps you in one piece. The gray bird also flies away, now circling around you, gracefully avoiding the tree trunks and branches. It has a red tail and a short, curved, vulture-like beak. It growls, just like the cat did a moment ago, and you notice that the human screams have disappeared. It's 2 against 1. Violence. Cutting that bird should be easy enough. You wait for the bird to dive at you and take a swing, using your time to get further away from the cat. The blade sends the halves of the raven-sized creature into the water. To the enjoyment of the local scavengers, a few gray and red feathers are drifting next to you. I raise the axe and look at the cat. And the cat roars towards its dead companion, then looks into your eyes. As it moves forward, you don't see any wounds on its shell. I run away. Right after your foot hits one of the roots hidden beneath the floating sludge, you realize that crossing the water is going to take some time, a luxury that you don't have. The bird and the cat try to get to you again, cutting your back. Well, fleeing is not an option. I try to stay safe, looking for an opportunity to make a precise strike. Violence! Nope. You do your best to evade the cat's attack, then to strike it as it charges you, but your attempts fail miserably. It manages to reach your stomach with its claws, slashing through your jacket. You're bleeding. Your gambeson was already in such a bad shape that it made little difference. Struggling, I push away with my axe, then prepare for the next slash. I try to stay safe. You do your best to evade the cat's attack, then to strike it as it charges at you. You somehow avoid its claws and teeth, and your sharp axe gets into the beast's back. I get away from it quickly, then prepare for the next clash. The cat observes you with new respect, surprised that you're still standing. It looks at its dead companion and, without a second thought, leaps away, then partially swims, crossing the pond with a speed matching your palfrey's gallop. You consider following it, but after it reaches a tree crown with just 2 jumps, it gets to another one within a single breath. You wipe your forehead and turn away. Gasping, wet, and frustrated, you hobble back to the beaten path. Dave seems worried, and you try to ease its soul with a few encouraging words, hoping it will leave you alone for a minute. You wash your skin, then put on your dry clothes. At least your boots won't give you a cold. Lovely. I got absolutely obliterated. We carry on, I suppose. We ride carefully. If Dave's leg sinks into the mud, it may be broken. Finally, life. The further north you ride, the shorter the grass gets. The vast peat fields, these vast peat fields, broader than 2 or 3 villages, placed side by side, are many years old. The turf bricks surrounding the solitary hut are still fresh, drying in the late summer light. The scent of this area is like that of no bog you've ever encountered. Instead of a sublime aroma of healthy soil, it's intense sulfury, leaving an almost sour taste on your tongue. The short scarp is dripping with water, like a running sore of the earth, carved with spade and muscle. The only soul in sight is sitting on the bench, stuffing its mouth with fistfuls of green leaves that he takes out of a small basket placed on his knees. I introduce myself and now stay in the saddle. And for now, stay in the saddle. Still chewing, he mutters something in response, then shakes his hairy head. Swallows and puts the basket away. He stands up and takes a single step forward, approaching the edge of the scarp. His arms are entangled by green creepers, longer than he is tall. They rub against the ground after each step, and judging by the way they occasionally twitch, they're very much alive, even though you can't see where they originate from. Bodhi, the Roadwarden, he repeats, this time clearly. He moves his sealed lips left and right, as if he's tasting your name. Still not sure if he should swallow it or spit it out. Your face is familiar, but not this. He points at your mount, staring at it for a good minute. His voice is quiet and young, not older than 30. If you were standing next to each other, he would be almost a head shorter than you, but for now he towers over you. He has sunken cheeks and sloped shoulders. While his grey woolen robe was never pretty, it's now close to being a rag, and his sandals reveal long toenails. I observe him even more closely with my special eyes. I open them gently to observe the individual. His eyes are as brown and dark as the grasses of this very bog. His left earring is made of a tusk and a feather, while the right one is an hourglass made of silver, though a broken wing makes it all times tilted under its own weight. The leather strips on his wrists and ankles hold beads, pieces of amber, old game dice, and tiny skulls of birds and critters. Even more cords are hanging from his neck, some of them so long they reach his stomach. They carry countless amulets, some of them torn, dried, shabby, or fragmented. And you spot among them small boxes made of wood and bone, as well as leather pouches which hide even more secrets. Were you here before? Mayhap I dreamt you in my sleep. His voice and look are absent. If so, I'm Thyrsis, The Turf Warden. Fascinating. Where the hell am I? Oh, the peat fields. You dreamt it? He observes you keenly, letting out an approving grunt. No, it isn't your shell I saw, but your hordening eyes. Hands used to touch beasts more than humans, ass burning from a saddle and cold sweat for nights. 'Twas a man before you here, Asterion, and was as lost as you are. Lost. He makes a dramatic pause and smiles, but not unwelcome. Some plants are blocking the way to white marshes. How about the road south from here? With a horse and no guide, you'd get swallowed in no time by monsters in the mud. He raises his hands, waggling his fingers as if he's casting a curse. My green pets keep the troublemakers away, but I can make an exception for a warden, one willing to prove they bring gifts, not troubles. What's the toll? He reaches for his basket and places it on the lower edge of the scarp, crouching right behind it. You look inside, indeed, it's filled with wild leaves, flowers, and berries. Give me enough for a day or so, and I'll bend the vines for a day or so. Will a food ration be fine? Very fine. He licks his lips, and once he spots a piece of jerky among your gifts, he reaches for it right away. With a mouthful, he snaps his fingers and mutters something in satisfaction. Do you know anything about Asterion's whereabouts? He raises his chin. Know what? I may. His amulets rattle after his triumphant announcement. But he then looks at the clouds in the distance. You wait for him to carry on, but to no avail. I wait patiently. He nods to himself. Didn't notice it's been so long. Fall's almost here. Is it? He's been here then? Well, not at my place, tis for sure. To prove his point, he raises one of his creepers and opens the door, though from where you're sitting, you see mostly a cold fireplace and darkness behind it. Is he your client, or do you share a goal? He crosses his arms, making the creepers hit his amulets. Never had a witch or a warlock at home. It's wrong of me to speak for others. I'll take on my pyre a lot of shame. Indeed. Do you have an idea of where I can look for him? Yep, at a monster's lair, most likely. You alright? He huffs and looks away, straightening up. Mayhaps these questions bore me to sleep. Thought of that. I've too many things to do. Before you explain that you simply got worried, he waves it off. Asterion asked me to help with various creatures, was heading for a journey, he said. Needed bogey bombs to scare animals away. Even some weird ones, the harpies and sea monsters, but I've not such things. I cannot poison the sea. As you think what to make of it all, he starts to tap on his toes, taking a deep breath. As a huntress living in Pell to the north is in southern Roadwarden, Asterion said he knows wild beasts like no other soul. So I was prepared for them anyway. What do you think of him? I don't. Left me with a heavier pouch, but asked nosy questions like someone else I know. He gives you a telling look. That is all. Alright. Well, I can now go over here. And there's the place I need. They aren't attacking me, so I don't have to be afraid. The people who live here seem to have everything under control. Yes, I have discovered the White Marshes. The guards let you in without questioning. The entrance and the wall in general were secretly constructed, though are still not finished. There will soon be yet another gate, allowing for trade and conversations without opening the village to danger. Just like the fields, the work is divided between the undead, who carry bricks and take care of the most thankless tasks, while the locals cut rocks and spread mortar. The difficult past is still carved in the village's gaunt faces and crude outfits, and their brief glances show little curiosity. A few of them are sharing a meal right next to the well, and the victuals in their baskets consist of green leaves, fruits, eggs, and cuts of roasted meat, the food of foragers. You're told to wait here for the mayor. Don't roam on your own. The guard's voice is harsh despite the stutter. I tethered Dave at a small shed. And the man shows up soon after with a careless saunter, and he hardly spares you a look, instead staring at your palfrey. You're not that intruder from the forest garden, so our green wall was not enough to stop you, he smirks. Who are you even? His stature would be considered average in most villages, but in comparison to the rest of his tribe, he's portly, muscular, tall, and with a large, square face. His hands are resting on the shaft of a poleaxe placed across his shoulders, making him seem even larger. His long, straw-colored beard is shabby and makes his bald head look shiny. Is this Tomar? You can't really tell how old he is, though you see no wrinkles. Just like the others, he's wearing prominent charms favoring tiny figurines of animals made of bone and wood. Only one of them is hanging from his neck, a silver amulet portraying the head of a moose with large antlers. While valuable, it looks older than the other critters, and quite crude in form. I introduce myself. He sizes you up. Hey, and I'm Helvius. Who let you in? Was it Thyrsus? He's as much of a gatekeeper as a fly's a warden to a piece of shit. He gives you a telling frown. He could tell I won't hurt you. I guess one coward wouldn't recognize another. He raises his chin. Welcome to White Marshes, but don't stay for long. You've got no wagons or wares, and I've no need for you. Take a good look around while you can. The turf houses are old, covered with lush grasses and flowers, and you can't imagine any large family fitting inside such small one-chambered huts. The alleys are so narrow that only one cart could squeeze through them at once. Your boots have sunk into the mud. The square is covered with deep boot prints. And the noise of hammers shouting, wood splitting, and the shuffling of undead legs pierces through the constant buzzing of insects. Dave snorts, hunting down flies with its tail. I notice that there's only one elder in sight, and he's observing me. He's standing on the top of a wooden platform by the building that's unlike any other in the village. His eyes are keen, the left one is dark, the right one is grey bright. His head and face are shaved, and his simple undyed robe is even worse shape than the outfits of his tribesfolk. Once Helvius realizes what you're looking at, he lowers his weapon and clears his throat like a boy caught red-handed. The elder walks away, holding a walking stick with one hand and touching a wall with the other. Orenthius, says the mayor, the priest of our fellowship and the one who saved our people. He raises his hand, pointing at the dead shells bustling around the construction site. I look at the undead workers. They don't bother you. I used to listen to stories about them as a kid. He nods for you to follow him. But Arenthius taught me that they're no different than boars and fire. He dashes forward and swings his poleaxe, bashing a skeleton's shoulder. The arm sinks into the mud while its owner, a bit awkwardly now, keeps trying to climb up a ladder. Helvius bursts into laughter and continues to look away without a word. See, he continues, leading you back to the wall. All you need's control. Look there. He points at a dead shell with remains of flesh on its chest and head. There's a white and brown sparrow sitting on its shoulder, preening its feathers. Even beasts know they've got not a thing to worry about. The awoken are now like they were yesterday. Like they were in spring, like they were a year ago. Leave worrying about them to idiots and unites. So this is the famous undead necromancer village, huh? Were you recently bothered by any highwaymen? He reaches for his hair so quickly that it makes you flinch, but then scratches his head gently. And if so, we deal with them on our own without any warden's help. He doesn't trust me enough to speak with me about the highwaymen. Does anybody? I don't think they do. It's a real shame. Eudocia, the enchantress, would like to place a rod in your village somewhere high. Would that be a problem? She-ho! Let me see. He swings the hollow piece of bronze like a sword made from a branch, then raises it above his head, staring at it with little patience. A lightning catcher or a toy? Well, he gives it back. Come one day before noon, you'll go out with the foragers as a guard. Work with them for half a day and we'll put it in a tree, or on a roof mayhap. It's too late to start the work now. Maybe another time. So I can rest and then do that. You should take a break. Your clothes smell of sweat and dirt. Oh, I'd like to speak with Orenthius. As he straightens up, the moose head on his chest bounces enthusiastically. And many others, but he's swamped by his work, and we've enough threats in the shadows already. And he decides you're trustworthy. He may speak with you once, but why would I even ask him? I just want to hear Wright's will. You're at the right place, but the wrong time. One day, all provinces, the land will learn what was revealed to the prophet. He spreads his arms, holding the poleaxe like a staff. Right away to the villages, to the city, you will hear Wright's words soon enough. Alright. I'd like to learn more about White Marshes. Like, for example, do you have somewhere where I could lie down? Don't bother both us and yourself. The tribe's been taming the bogs for 5 generations, battlefields. He moves towards the gate, as if you had no opportunity to see them before. A few seasons ago, thanks to Orenthius, we used to live on berries and meat, selling peat and timber, but soon we'll need no outsiders after all these years of feeding our blood to saurians, leeches and merchants. Better days are coming. We made them come, and we deserve them. He fondly wipes his blade with his thumb, then clears his throat. If the right allows. So you want to separate yourself from the other settlements? The tribes with little iron and bones struggle more and more. We're getting ready to welcome plunder as the way they deserve is all. Our palisade wasn't enough. All this. He waves at the wall, and his voice is full of pride. Was built if not even 2 years. Can you believe? You glance at the yellowish skeleton that carries 2 large rocks, each too large for any human to lift on their own. Haha. Indentured undead servitude. Skeletons have rights. I should know. Is Asterion around? Oh, why would he be here? You pay attention to his confident stance and strong voice. With its usual hint of disdain, and spot no sign of a lie. He's hardly ever been here. I have no need of wardens. You say you know nothing about Asterion, but people claim he has strong ties with your tribe. Helvius begins swinging his axe left to right, the heel of the haft now resting in the mud, trying to recall the past. He makes a puzzled frown. No, what? I was told you met with our warlock often. Who knows why? Ask him if you must. And he won't let me. Okay. Shall we trade? Nope, I don't have anything to trade. Right, so I can go to Helvius in the morning. There we go. I asked the guards if there's a room I could rent for the night. New shelter unlocked. I guess. It is an old shed, explains the guard. There, you won't bother anyone. You're ready before you need it. Alright, it's time to wait until evening. Now I slumber. The never-ending sounds of the wall constructions and walking skeletons won't help you catch a good night's rest. Oh well. Free sleep! A persistent shouting voice wakes you up. Weak moonbeams squeeze through the smoke holes, but to have a proper look around, you open the door. There are flickering torches at the main gate, accompanied by a solemn prayer and timid shouts. You put on your cloak and boots and leave the shed. A few of the locals, dressed in their regular worn and muddy clothes, surround a large group of the undead, touching their half-rotten limbs, revealed rib cages, emotionless heads. A hooded woman sonorously, stingingly begs for rights, guidance, and protection, but you don't pay much attention to her words. The man known as Arenthius is standing beside the gathering with a revealed torso and walking stick beneath his shoulder. Every now and then he cuts his sides or his back and fills a wooden bowl slightly. Then a follower steps closer, puts 2 fingers inside the liquid, and takes it to one of the awoken creations. The lights dance around, casting shadows that you could swear hide cruel spirits. You don't know how long you have been observing the ritual when the scar-covered man turns towards you. His innocent sad eyes carry no judgment or reprimand. Yet you suddenly notice how cold your calves and neck are. Autumn is surely getting closer. You wade through the mud. So not only do they awake the dead, they use blood magic. If the United Church learns about this, they won't let it go. Yes, but who's going to tell them? Right. Early in the morning. Very well, let's go. I've got work to do. Ooh. After half an hour, the expedition is ready. 6 souls, none of them older than 40, with no one dead to assist them. Too dumb, the oldest woman explains. And we've no overseer with us. Their accents are heavy, but they rarely address you. For most of the time, they exchange single-word commands, gesturing for you to quiet down whenever you step on a branch. You spend half a day following the bog paths, but also going deeper into the wilderness. As a group, you manage to scare away the smaller beasts, and your guide claims to lead you around the hunting territories of the larger predators. From time to time, you keep to what looks like the most inconvenient trails in sight, yet no one objects. You cross the mud, shallow waters, and ancient dark game trails. Tracking any movement along the leaves and grasses. Hungry and annoyed by the insects, you go back to White Marshes, carrying baskets and sacks full of mushrooms, berries, herbs, and great leaves, but also a few birds and furry critters. I hardly pay any attention to the group, I just look for monsters, that is all. Helvius waits for you at the gate, nodding with approval. 2 steps away from him, you see a short corpse, bare-boned above his waist, but still wearing pants and carrying scraps of meat on its feet. Not giving you a moment of breath, the mayor tells you to fetch him a rod. After you do so, he throws it at the undead, bouncing the rod off of his head with a thud, and starts to laugh. Go on now, he commands it. Put it on the tree there and tie it with a rope. His worker bows down to pick up the tools and obediently walks away. I mean, he's doing what I want him to do. Why would I object? It gives you a little relief. You'd need bucketfuls of water to wash the bogs off you. The man leaves you behind, amused with the way the undead tries to approach the new challenge. A few times, you hear the dead shell falling from a branch and the man's sonorous laughter. Oh, he's fucking around. Oh well, I mean, a rod's a rod. Bronze rods. I can't get the first share of my reward after placing... I can get the first share after placing at least 4. I've placed 2. I've placed the rod... Wait. Oh. I've placed the rod at the entrance of the old tunnel in the north. I've placed the rod in the White Marshes. It's crucial that one of the rods will be placed in White Marshes. I placed the rod in White Marshes. Rod, White Marshes, placed, done. Success has been had on this day. I need nourishment. I can't use my inventory right now. Can I eat the... No. Farewell. Inventory. Eat. Good enough. I approach the well. The locals observe your hands carefully while you're drawing the water. After you quench your thirst, you try to wash your face and neck, but one of the older women approaches you quickly, wagging her face. We've not enough for this silliness, she rebukes you. Water your horse if you have to, but we need the rest for ourselves. Alright. Observe the undead workers. Not being allowed to leave the main square, you observe the shells walking through the gate or helping the builders at the wall. The skeletons are not all complete. Some of them lack a rib, a foot, or a jaw. Many of their bones are cracked or broken, and seem to be connected to each other with nothing at all, as if the pneuma that keeps them moving knows which parts should stay firm and which ones should twist and bend. Those that kept some of their skin and guts don't smell, rot, or bleed, and make you think of dried meat. It's as if these scraps of flesh serve no purpose, and seeing how many of these laborers already have great holes in their stomachs or limbs with revealed bones, it could be that they are just in the middle of the process of becoming like their naked counterparts. The undead loyally fulfill their tasks. So far, you've counted 5 people about to give them orders. Some of them do so by speaking out loud, while one woman simply looks at a shell, no matter how far it is. The workers, while witless, maintain some sort of carefulness in their actions. They stop when someone gets in their way, and use tools, if they know how, avoiding pointless harm to their shells. There may be more than 50 creatures spread across around the village, but you can't know how many you haven't seen yet. Many of the fresher undead are elders, among them skeletons. You spot some that used to belong to children, but none to infants. Maybe their shells are too weak. You notice that all the flies land either on the locals or on your palfrey. They avoid the awoken shells without exception. Oh wow, the undead are fly repellents? That's delightful. He doesn't trust me enough. He sighs loudly, giving you a telling look. Well, I guess it's time to get out of here in my half-dead demeanor. Journal. Oh, yeah. So, I completed the quest for the creeks, but, I thought that doing some labor for him for the rods would make him trust me enough, but I guess not. I have no food and I have little coin. I am at my wit's end. Unfortunate the circumstances would appear as thus. I travel to the 4 major crossroads that connect the peninsula. What time is it? Oh, I have 9 hours. How delightful. Ooh. Remember to hydrate yourselves. Hydration is important. Even if just for the sensation. Where to go? Where to go? Oh, I just realized that I think those are supposed to be dragon bones. I thought that was a bunch of rope next to the food icon. Now where do I go? Farewell. I'm gonna go over here. As you ride past the fields, one of the local farmers enters the road, gesturing for you to stop. He's holding a rusty sickle and carries a basket on his back, filled with various weeds and a sharpened club. His patched, worn tunic is neglected, but fitting for a farmer. The lean years left his face skinny and his teeth crooked, but his sad eyes hold heartwarming kindness. Hey there, Warden. He has a thick local accent. I've been wondering just how... There's a small matter, you see. Do you know how to read? Wait. My character doesn't know how to read? Huh. I see. He gives you a sad smile, but still, you have a horse, I mean. He raises his eyes as if to make it clear he's aware that you're sitting in a saddle. It is. You ride places. Give me a few moments. Without waiting for a response, he runs to the village and returns with a small sack in his hands. How about you take it somewhere smart? He unwraps the package and reveals a large wax tablet made of bone. It's a letter from someone I care about, but I'm not sure what it says. I'll give you a coin once you read it for me. You take the tablet from his open palm. It's fancy unlike the wooden ones. On its back you find an engraving portraying a large furry beast. Mate for a troll's hit, the farmer says proudly. Fine, I'll see you soon. He waves to you and steps away, clearing the path. I'll wait for you with the coin, I promise. I'm ready for my journey. You slow down. Among the shrubs, a small pack of dragonlings is feasting on the carcass of a grey auroch. One of them, with red feathers on its arms, straightens up and gives you a curious glance. Its head tilts left to right, forward and back. It screeches at you, but doesn't move forward and returns to its meal. You wonder what would happen if you were on foot. Would they let you be, satisfied with their prey? Or would they run after you? But if so, for what reason? For now, you have enough space to move forward. Yet stay safe. Powerful jaws break the monster's bones loudly, then bite off the shallow chunks of meat. I keep my distance and look over my shoulder. Forwards we march. And the end of the day we find. This plant shouldn't be alive, not without leaves. It doesn't resemble any other trees in the wetlands. It's something else. You think about the tree you saw in the square of Howler's Dell. But which was much smaller. You get off your horse and prepare your axe. The water is filled with dirt and dead plants, and it smells like an old corpse. The roots are spreading far, breaking through the water's surface. You don't see any saurians in the grasses or in the shore. You approach the table-like altar made of 3 limestone slabs. Were these rocks originally as formless as they are now, or was there a point in time, centuries ago, when they were precisely shaped and decorated by masters of artistry? There's no way to tell. Dave is peacefully observing the dark grass and slapping flies with his tail. Whatever it is that you feel in the air, it's clear that your companion sees this place through very different eyes. Where am I? Oh, okay. Ah. The roads connect now. The big circle. Hello, Kitterine. Thank you. I am well. How are you? Thank you for stopping by. Ugh. It's 4 a.m. and just drank my first monster ever in life. You're energized? That's good to hear. Thank you. Quite the entrance. Thank you for the follow. By the way, call me Kit. Alright. Oh, wait. Okay, those are exclamation points. I thought one of them might have been an I. Hello, Kit. You sound like an old villain. Well... I definitely sound like something. No, I did not know that pillbugs sweat piss. I do not have many encounters with pillbugs. I have encountered them, but that was several years ago. Nowadays, I don't see any. They also drink through their butts. Thank you for the pillbug trivia. Honestly, I don't know. I don't not like pillbugs. I don't go out of my way to encounter them in the wild. Right, anyway. I smile and scratch the bottom of its neck. Go ahead, I'll look around for a moment. No worries, Kit. You don't see any creatures, nor humans. There's clumped dirt in the uneven nicks, fused by years of winds and rains. The bottom surface of the table is dusty, but you don't find any spider webs or mold, even though it's a perfect spot for them. The tree roots cling to the altar in many spots. They're firmly attached. You struggle to move them even by an inch. The cream-colored limestone is cold and smooth. You were the first streamer that caught my eye? Well, I'm happy to be fascinating enough to watch, I guess. Or to check up on, at least. And try to make an offering. What offering can I have? I don't have any sacrifices. I literally have nothing. I do make 3D models. I made the 3D model that I'm using right now. It has face gestures of some derelict description. But yes, I do make 3D models. Thank you. I made it using Blockbench, and then Blender, and then Unity. It is. I do very much enjoy it every time I look around. It has such a happy face, coupled with the smile. Yes, I do have. The squint is also something that I can do with facial recognition, but sometimes it doesn't work. It seems like the only face that it registers is whenever I smile. This game is Roadwarden. It is a fantasy text-based RPG where you play as a Roadwarden. You guard the roads, and it's a fantasy land where the wilds of nature are kicking humanity's ass. It's a very fun game because it is very well written, and it has a lot of interesting segments, let's say. For example, I rescued a man, and as a reward, the man gave me troll piss in a jar. He gave me Jarate, and that Jarate will allow me to deal with goblins. Where's the bestiary? There's the bestiary. And they call them ape men for some reason. Oh. According to Quintus, they follow the smell of burning fat. Ooh, there's new things that get added onto this. Some of my friends had to make a text-based game. Game development is difficult. I tried to become a part of a game jam. Nothing really came of it, but maybe in the future. Right, what is your sacrifice? Can I sacrifice myself? You put your hand on the altar, but you don't see any reaction. Alright, fair enough. Can we move forward? What's down? You art? Very nice. Art is good. I enjoy art. I've been doing art for many moons. Did I thank you for the follow? Thank you for the follow. Well, technically speaking, I don't have references right now, but I appreciate the gesture. I could generate references for you of this model. You sound like a museum man. That's very fitting, because lore-wise, I am currently broadcasting from a museum. But point being is, I could generate a reference for you with the skull. I could just do forward, side, and back, and what have you, and you could use that. But this is my 0.69 model, version number 0.69. I'm going to have a 1.0, and it's going to have a body, and it's going to have many cool features, but I'm currently working on that. Well, for the 1.0, I wouldn't be a flying head. I'd be a fully bodied biped. I'd have a head and hands and a neck and a lot of armor. I'm going to have a lot of armor bits. Point being is, if you want, you could either draw the floating head that it is right now. Ooh. But you get a body, I'll draw you as Hatsune Miku. Yes, I'm going to be a Dark Souls-esque medieval armor-wielding or armor-wearing type deal. I do have a lot of references, actually, for that, and I am working on it. I'm currently at the leg stage. My point being is that if you really want to draw something immediately, I could give you references for the ram skull itself. I could generate some and put them on my Discord. I've got a Discord, so I'll put that there if you want. But if you want, you could wait until I make a 1.0, and I will have full references for that. And it'll be beautiful and it'll be glorious. But that's a few weeks off, because I need a lot of time, because I'm currently only at the modeling stage where I've modeled the feet. And thank you very much. I very much appreciate the support. Right. Where were we? The shapes of mountains are cutting through the horizon. You're intimidating, museum man. So I have heard, but I try not to be. But then again, you never know how people will perceive you. You try your best. Right. The shapes of mountains are cutting through the horizon. The water gets gradually less muddy. The cleaner it gets, the more animals you see. A family of deer blocks the road, resting and enjoying the cold water, which would be deadly for a human stomach. You consider riding around, though, the sparse meadow, but your presence also causes them disquiet. Without much haste, they regroup and run east. I'm like a porcelain cat. Like... Let's see. Oh! I see, based on your profile, you have a cat picture. That's nice. Well... I don't really have any comments about the rigidity and strength of porcelain, but hey, I bet you're strong on the inside. Cats are nice. Thank you. Oh, you're a delight. You've reached Hag Hills, the wall of stones that has blocked the city's grasp. One well-established route through them leads through the valley where you found Tulia's camp. There are no maps of the highlands, nor local tribes, only stories. The beaten path leads you by the garden beds of herbs and vegetables to an old yet abandoned mine hidden behind a massive door made of steel. I look around. There's no hitching rail for a mount. A bearded, skinny elder sits on a bench, observing you like a sculpture, with his legs crossed and fingers interlocked on his abdomen. Are you from USA? Did you celebrate 4th of July? I cannot confirm nor deny, but I am based in Europe. So, I know that the accent throws people off. But the reality of the situation is I am of the world, so to speak. And I've chosen English as my primary driver for that world expression. Oh, well, I can confirm that I'm not from America. Thank you. I appreciate the compliments. I try my best. Right. Good day to you. Don't worry about my horse. I'll keep it away from your garden. Only worms too stupid to understand me would eat what's mine. You dismount and mention that your palfrey is no worm, but the man reprimands you with a thick accent. Let me see, whilst you speak, I can nae hear without magic. But I'll read your lips. By the way, sorry if I'm not good at speaking English. I'm not USA. Don't worry, you're very much legible and understandable. Honestly, if you didn't say that, I would have assumed that you're from one of the English-speaking countries. Or where English is the native tongue, I guess. He doesn't yell, but his voice reminds you of a combat instructor from the city. His face is wrinkled, but he sits straight, with a beard and hair still carrying glimpses of fair blonde. He's tanned like a worker, and his eyes are blue and piercing, as if they belong to an infant. You're nae from here, and I will nae welcome a stranger in this refuge. Say what you're looking for and be gone. Explain who I am. What do you call him? His name shall now be Scrongus. He stares off across the garden beds, forcing you to wait in silence. The elder is tall, with long hair and a beard that was let loose a long time ago. His sandals are covered in dust, and you spot dirt on his clothes and skin. The woolen tunic and linen were made with care, decorated with colorful threads at the collar and sleeves. Now all the blues and greens have faded, and the fabric is held together by patches and stitches. His hands are still folded, the voice remains firm. You do not know our customs, your name, your trade, your calling mean nothing to the forest. I do not know what you expect to find here, but this is nae a place for strangers. I'll be using you as my background noise. I'm studying biology. Thank you very much. I very much appreciate that. I know not in the ways of the study of biology, but I wish you luck in that endeavor. I am not very biologically inclined. I am a tapestry of magic and well wishes. I'll be back as the class ends. Well, I very much appreciate it, and thank you for stopping by. You put a smile on my face. I wait for him to look at me. The man stands up and approaches your palfrey. Without touching it, he observes its eyes, mane, stomach, and rear. Dave ignores this examination. My nose was right then. Asterion is dead, as are his plans. Such is the fate of all dreamers. Yippee! Oh, you're a fun one, Kit. He turns towards you with a grim look. Are you going to look for him? Oh. He turns towards you with a grim look. Are you going to look for him? You nod. Why, if he's vanished into the fogs, there's no point in putting yourself in danger. What do you expect to find? It's a job. There's a reward for finding him. I need to know what kind of danger he's encountered. He's observing you carefully. Do you plan to get rid of this danger, or maybe learn from Astarion's mistakes? Or are you still thinking about leaving this land for good? He starts to chuckle. Only the right questions will bring you the answers. With lively steps, he heads towards the spring. He washes his hands, once again forcing you to wait. Old people need time to gather their thoughts. He tries to dictate the pace of the conversation and put me in my place. Old people need time to gather their thoughts. His voice is cold and confident. Oh, what you need. Eudocia, the enchantress, has asked me to place the bronze rods in high spots across the peninsula. I should be done in about half an hour. He takes and observes the rod for a mount, then closes his eyes and bites it gently. When he returns, he seems unconvinced. I sense a spirit in it, but I'm no one who can tell who's behind it. How can I be sure? You explain what you know about the nature of the rods, but he changes the topic to Eudocia herself. Another minute passes by the time he accepts that you indeed know her. Fine. I'll ask for our story next time I see her. Go. But away from the spring, don't break your neck. Even a child could get to the higher parts of such a rugged cliff, though you have no reason to expect all the loose rocks to be cleared. I take off my armor and put away my weapons and bags. The bronze rod is attached to your back by a cord. As you place your feet and hands on the rocks, you realize that you have to move slowly, maintaining your balance, pushing away small and large pebbles, making sure that the wall doesn't collapse under your feet. The rocks are coarse, supporting your grasp, and you rarely find a sharp spot. The climb resembles a nice summer walk, though your muscles are not prepared for such movements. You find the perfect spot, a small crack between two massive rocks. You use the rod to broaden it just a bit, then push it halfway in, and fill the gaps with a rag. Doing it with one hand makes you dizzy, but not for long. I take a short break to catch a second breath. Where were we? Climbing down is easier, though you struggle to recall exactly where you had previously placed your limbs. The warm sun eases your tension. After a few minutes, you land on the soft grass and dust off your hands. Greetings. Once again, you prepare your equipment. The druid gives the shining rod a pouty look. Alright, so now that means the bronze rods? Yes, I have placed 3. I've placed the rods in the White Marshes, above the Druid's Cave, and the entrance to the old tunnel in the north. What time is it? It is soon... At least I have a way around, and 2 hours isn't too bad. I can make it. I've heard about some bandits. Were they bothering you? Ah, there we go, finally. He strokes his beard, but then grasps it nervously. There are souls who steal from White Marshes, a village in the north. They would not dare to show up here, but those brigands are brute simpletons. Ava, their leader, Glossia, listens only to force. Will humiliate for the enjoyment of her band. She will not be afraid of some lost Roadwarden. Are you gonna end stream soon? I usually stream for 3 hours and a half, so by that logic, I have another hour and a half left in me, until I usually close up shop. I try to stream for longer, but I need to get used to it. I've only been streaming for 3 weeks. This is my 3rd week. I debuted on the 19th of June. I am very much a fresh face on the scene. I only made my model public yesterday. Oh wait, no. The day before, I believe. Yes. On the day before. I was a PNG tuber before then. And this is a temporary model until I get the 1.0. I'm glad to have found you before you get famous. Those are very encouraging words. Thank you very much. I don't know if I'll get famous. I just intend to have fun. And so far with streaming, it's been pretty fun. And I find the time to play games again. Games that I normally wouldn't bother with. Like this one. This was actually recommended to me by one of my viewers, chatters, scions. My class will last 38 minutes, so I'll be here for an hour. Thank you very much for your time. I very much appreciate it. And no worries. If you have to go, you have to go. I will be here all the same. In the specific times that I've pointed out in my schedules, both on Twitch and on my Discord. I also have other socials and all that, but anyway. He lets go of his beard and lowers his head. She's drifted so far away from her old self. A kind, bright girl from Gale Rocks, loved by her parents, but now, dinna cross her or she'll find you. Oh, so that's her origin. I'm planning on pulling an all-nighter anyways. Need to finish some stuff before going back to class. Fair enough. I don't know whether it's rude to ask what time zones people are in, but mine is UTC +2, so it's 10 AM for me right now. I have no frame of reference outside of that. For me, it's early in the morning. Right. So what did we learn about the band? The Creeks have no issues. Right. Oh, it's 4 AM. That's quite late. Wait, so you have a class at 4 AM? Oh wait, no, you're just studying, I guess. Oh, fair enough. Right. Oh, I see. Right. Did anyone die of dysentery? Hello, Valkyrie. Not yet, but I might. I am dirtier than a horse's butthole, and I should take a break. Someday I'll be as old as you. You sound old. I am an ancient being. Lore-wise, I'm 4 years old. That is extremely ancient. Right. You have any jobs for me? We have everything we need. No. He does not have any jobs for me. Anciently 4. Yes. I am a tapestry of two beings fused together, and I came out of a pit. And it was 4 years since that event. I don't know how old this body actually is. Can't stop smiling and the thing won't stop doing the little... Right. I know I should have addressed you. I want to fix my mistake. What do you call him? Scrungus. Oh, I have to figure out what his name is? I don't know what his name is. You're just a happy little guy. I sure is. I'm just a happy little disembodied ramskull. Can you tell me anything about the crossroads, about the altar? 'Tis the tree that you should pay attention to, the true gift from the forest. It answers to our offerings and rewards us with magnificent fruits. They heal both shell and soul and make any who eat them stronger than they ever were. We gather around this altar whenever the winter ends, and whilst it requires a painful sacrifice from all of us, it prepares one's soul for the future like nothing else could. Ah, yes. The beauty of group sacrifice. Traveling on. What time is it? Oh yes, it's time for me to hit the hay. In Howler's Dell. Eventually I'll figure out how to call that thing. You ride through the open gate, then swiftly dismount. Some of the locals greet you politely, but they keep their distance. After you notice your own smell and the dirt on your clothes, you no longer wonder why. I smell of sweat and dirt. Your clothes are worn and torn. I head to the stables. You spend a few minutes with Dave, but before you reach the square, someone clears their throat. You turn towards a man in his 50s, with large hands, an elegant beard, and no hair. The stable master. He both introduces himself and answers an unspoken question. You frown, then realize that you indeed saw him before, and your palfrey was nicely taken care of during your first visit to the village. Or rather, I'm one when 'tis necessary, but I'd rather grind flour, he says with annoyance. You dinna think your beast waters itself, brings itself fodder from a storehouse and cleans its own shite, eh? Takes time and hay if 'tis. If it is, he points at your companion. If nae going to work for it, you better have pouch a hand. You look behind you. The stables are not much more than an open shed with piles of planks, 2 donkeys, and a bunch of napping chickens. Would a dragon bone be enough? Your voice acting is great, what the fuck? Thank you very much. I am, in part, a voice actor. I have a whole... Actually, no, that's not true. I have 3 projects to my name, all in the similar... in the same vein as Half-Life 2 mods. But yes. It's what gave me the confidence that maybe I could do this as a career. If I had hands, they would be jazzy right now. Hello, Eris. Nice to see you drop by. That's great. You're so fun. Thank you very much. Oh, stop. No, keep them coming. Would a dragon bone be enough? For one day, that's fair. Here you go. He nods with gratitude and throws the bone into a leaky bucket hanging from a nail, then grabs a wooden pitchfork. You're like so full of surprises. You haven't seen anything yet. I let him work in peace. They're wandering through the village. A young woman is chasing after a loose chicken, embarrassed by the giggling of bystanders. 3 drunken youngsters are having something between a conversation and a mumbling exchange of jokes. Someday I'll figure out you know how to use a skateboard. A ram skull never tells. I passed out for like 4 or 5 hours yesterday and completely missed the stream. No worries. Your presence is appreciated whether... whenever it's there. Cool ancient thing. Ancient as the bones that rattle in my skull. They don't rattle. Maybe I should get a rattling thing. I'm not even affiliate yet, but when I get to affiliate, and then when I get to the thing beyond affiliate, I definitely will be putting redeems and all those other things. This is merely the beginning, and this is only week 3. Oh, by the way. Yes, Kit. Do you stream at this time every time? I constantly, well, not constantly, but the first week I streamed 6 hours from now, but I decided to start streaming in my equivalent of mornings, and I like the mornings, so chances are that for the future I will be keeping this, time frame? Yes. So, to answer your question, I think so, yes. For now, at least, I like this time. Plug the Discord! I already did, but thank you for reminding me. I have a Discord, wowee, look at all that. Discord, Blue Sky, YouTube, Kara, Ko-Fi. Oh yes, this is being simulcasted on YouTube, the beautiful YouTube. Eris, did you see I edited my audio setting again, wowee. So I'll be here for almost every night at 4 AM watching a floating head. Great! Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. You get the gist. Well, thank you very much for stopping by. I go to the main square. Thank you for noticing, Eris. I can't tell if it's better, but I checked yesterday's stream, and the game was louder than me. So I want to be louder than the game, and now I'm going into the yellows, so hopefully that's loud enough. I felt very quiet when I examined my last stream, which you can check out on my YouTube channel in the VODs. Plugs. Right. What do I need? I need sleep. And I have 30 days left until autumn. I can't wait, apparently. I asked the guard to look for the mayor. You should scream! I am not confident enough in screaming yet, and I don't want to disturb the local fauna and the neighbors. Someday, perhaps, but for now all you get is It's me, Rambones. I wish autumn was 30 days. Well, in this game it is, and if you want to pick it up, it used to be on sale. But then again, it is the Steam summer sale now, so it's probably on sale again. Alright. Over here it's winter. Huh. The seasons are a fun thing. I find it so fascinating that my understanding of the seasons is something that is completely alien to people in Australia, for example. It's very strange. The innkeeper I approach. I need rations. I need this. My last coin is spent. I'm clean and tidy. Thank you. Can I sleep now? Yes. Sleep. I feel like this game will end with me dying of starvation because I cannot manage my resources properly. Sick of this 40 Celsius weather already? That is a very high number that I would not be comfortable with if I experienced it. For me, the best temperature is probably 20, and it's sunny outside. I like the cold because you can put on clothes to keep yourself warm. In the summer, I cannot tear off my skin to get cooler. Trust me, I've tried. You notice it while you undress. One of your recent wounds is going to leave a mark. Well, I did fight a combination of a jaguar and a eagle who could mimic the sounds of screaming women, and I managed to kill the eagle, and the jaguar respected me enough to run away because it assumed that it would die. That's why I have no armor. They shredded it all. That was a fun chance encounter. That happened an hour ago. I notice it by touch, then see it in the reflection of my blade, a long cut on my cheek. I managed to ignore it, but the cut on my leg hurts with every step. Oh. Over here we got 13 Celsius. See, that's chef's kiss temperature. It's warm here, but the mouflon skin allows your back to rest a bit. You wake up a couple of times during the night, the smell of the cooked stew fuels your hunger. And the staff returns to the room once every hour or so to stir the pot. You wake up early, but leave the building to check up on Dave. And give it water from the creek. And the longest anyone has held their breath underwater is 24.5 minutes? Really? I used to think it was about 15 minutes. Records evolve, I suppose. The innkeeper is sitting near the door, from time to time carrying out another bowl, with either stew or gruel. Thais is nowhere to be seen. It is day 11. 14 hours of the day remain. What can I do? I put some rods in places. I need to fetch a lot of food. I barely have enough food to sustain myself, let alone give that guy 11 pieces of food just so he'll do things that I want. Orenthius the Necromancer. Helvius will agree to introduce you to Orenthius if he decides I have proven myself to be a trustworthy ally of his tribe. I spoke with Helvius about meeting with Orenthius. I should report back to Thais. I could do that. I do like the idea of becoming an ally to the necromancers and summoning a bone army for reasons. They're not evil, they're just misunderstood. Dead shambling corpses make for fine indentured servitude. I ask a guard to look for the mayor. They spares you, but a harsh glance. Yes? I saw a weird tree south from here, the one with the altar standing in front of it. She straightens up and raises her chin. You mean Beholder? The guardian spirit of the wetlands. Every fall we bring it our gifts, and in return it provides us with its blessed fruit. The flesh of the forest. She stares into your eyes. It's older than the oldest books and the oldest thoughts. The druids help us honor its sleep and show us how to ask for its help. Neither of these rituals, she scoffs, would be of use to you. All right then. Can't I report back to you? Aren't you the famous Thais? Why can't I report back to you? Yeah, looks like we're in agreement. New mundane jobs available at the village, okay. She puts her elbows on the table, leaning closer to you. If you go behind my back, I'm not going to wait for a dagger. I'll end you first. She rests her chin against her open palms, giving you a disarmingly warm smile. I'm sure people already know that we have a new Roadwarden. Maybe ask around to see if anyone needs your help. The more my neighbors trust you and need you, the more willing they'll be to offer you better pay. Oh, I see how that works. People are hesitant to trust you because you stink. I am a malnourished monster of a Roadwarden. Well, let's start here. What can I do for you? You, specifically, out there in the audience. Oh, so kind of you to ask. But before I ask you to run, let's see how you can walk, shall we? Her eyes wander left and right, as she gestures for a nearby guard to move away. He nods, then gestures at a few other souls to follow him. While a few of the locals cast curious looks at you, they turn away as quickly as you notice them. And do you like fun facts? I enjoy them. I would not be amiss if I were to receive one. Like, for example, the dot on the letter I is called a tittle. Or honeybees have hair on their eyes. The biggest butterfly in the world has a 31 centimeter wingspan? That is actually massive. Wow. That reminds me of some of the fauna you encounter in Helldivers. Ooh. Goats prefer happy faces. In a simple experiment published in the Royal Society Open Science, researchers put photos on the wall at a goat sanctuary of the same face, one happy and one angry. Goats tended to avoid the angry faces while they approached the happy ones and explored them with their snouts. That's a very fine hobby. But yes, I believe that a general rule of thumb is that animals do enjoy people with kinder expressions. It's probably very similar for dogs as well, but I wouldn't know. The mayor's shiny green eyes are still locked on you, and her voice is close to a whisper. While Asterian's disappearance, there is a little trade on the roads. Since Asterian's disappearance, there's little trade on the roads, and not much news reaches us. Be so kind. Her flirtatious tone distracts you from how obviously fake it is. Animals are so cute. Do you like cats or dogs? Any pets? Flying Skull? The Flying Skull likes cats and dogs all the same. I've had, over the course of the existence of the previous wielders of this body, I have had both cats and dogs. Which one I prefer more? I mean, they both have negatives and benefits, but being more of an introverted sort, I do enjoy the simplicity of cats. I very much enjoy their demeanor, and when they run around at 3 a.m., those were the days. Dogs can be spooky, sometimes, depending on the breed and the amount of training they receive and the size. Ah, you've got your cat over there. Very nice. Give them a pat from Mr. Rambones over here. Speaking of names, I do have one. It's Bodhi T, and I do try to introduce myself at the beginning of every stream, but in case you weren't here for that, it's Bodhi T if you want to know how to pronounce that. Most dogs are a bit too big for me to take out for a walk. Yes, that is the case. Some big breeds like Saint Bernards, for example, need a bit of a heft to them if you want to wrangle them. But there are smaller breeds, luckily. There's dogs for all shapes and sizes. All fits. I would get a huge dog, but they're so spooky. Depends on how well you train them. Most huge dogs, well, I can't speak for most, but from my experience, huge dogs sometimes don't actually know that they're huge. So they try to give you the love and attention they want to give you without compensating for their massive size. And yes, I also feel the same way about tiny dogs. Over the course of my existence, I have brushed with a German Shepherd, a Bulgarian Sheepdog, and a Saint Bernard. I used to have a sausage dog and he died, but he was the devil. My condolences. Yes, I don't tend to appreciate tiny dogs as much as I'd like to. I think my favorite type of dog would definitely be around the weight category of a German Shepherd. Not too big, but not too small either. He liked biting kids, especially kids. Unfortunate circumstances for that creature. I smiled back at her. You mean ones that weren't meant to reach you? Now I'm imagining a sausage running around nipping at the hands of children. Oh. Unfortunate. See, I knew that deep down you're a true sage. She titters and straightens up, adjusting her cape without haste. Do you have something to share? The squad that made camp at the southern crossroads is now nothing more than 2 people. They plan to return to Havlaven before fall. I can share that with her. Information is a way to gather rapport and build trust. Since they cleared that camp of brigands, they went so quiet I almost forgot about them. She rubs her chin on her thumb. I'm surprised they've managed to stay alive till this day. Sending such an inexperienced group here shows that the officials misjudged this land. Well, that's all I have to say. Oh, so this is when the quote-unquote real game begins, because I've unlocked enough to actually deal with my beautiful backstory. I want to escape my difficult past. I could make a place for myself by staying loyal to the Merchant Guild, or maybe pursue another opportunity while I'm here. I really hope I have the opportunity of becoming a necromantic cultist. In a way, I know it as well as any other city folk, but every spring I trained in horsemanship in a nearby village. Only for a bit. I was raised in a small village just nearby and moved to the city after I had decided to look for luck as a Roadwarden. Sure. To see the city for the first time after being surrounded by a couple of small houses and fields, it's a strange feeling, isn't it? She puts her hand on the table. Your laugh is very nice. Thank you, I appreciate it. Even after my second winter there, I felt like a stranger. But those who know how to live in the countryside close to the wilderness, we will always find a new home for ourselves, don't you think? She gives you an encouraging smile. I show her the troll bone tablet. Could you tell me what this is here? What's in here? Pretty. She taps on the carving of the back. You sure you don't want to leave it with Akakios for a few bones? She glances at the letters and puts the tablet on the table. It's just some farewell letter written to Valens. His husband says he couldn't stand this nightmarish village and that he met someone else during his hunting trip. It ends with, "We will start a new family. Goodbye." No signature. Ooh. That's very unfortunate. You joined your Discord? Thank you. That's very nice. My Concord grows. I'll post cat photos if that's okay. That is absolutely fine. I have a specific channel I made for pets and plants. And you can post that there at your heart's desire. I tried to make it as inclusive of a Discord as I could, and I added absolutely everything that my cranium could comprehend and think of. But if you have any topics or anything that you think isn't available in any of the channels I've already made, you can put it in suggestions. I do have a suggestion. I like I said, I tried to have everything, but if I missed something, feel free to share. Right. Right, okay. Thank you for your time. Trader is not around. Oh yes. Maybe I can go past this point now. The path is clear, in a way. The pebbler is nowhere in sight, but the road is covered with leaves and broken branches. The only fruit-bearing trees are growing right on the sides of the road, surely planted there by humans. There is a sizable amount of fruits and leaves the monster may chew on. So it may return any day now. Let's hope the scavenger was right about the troll urine. I can't believe that I accepted a jar of troll piss instead of actual money. Oh well. Live and learn. Living on the edge of tomorrow. Who knows, maybe it won't come back. Let's hope the scavenger was right about the troll urine. You keep the jar far away from you, holding your breath. Then you spread it around. A few splashes on the road, a few onto the nearby bushes and on the tree trunks. Dave snorts and walks in place, but once you also draw breath, there is nothing unusual in the air. The urine smell is unpleasant, but nothing worse than Hovlaven's harbor. I used to have 10 cats. I live in a rural area, so I got a lot of space for cats. I cannot even fathom 10 cats. That is incredible. I hope they all had a pleasant time. 10 cats, wow. I think at most, the amount of cats I've experienced at once was either a litter of kittens, which numbered around 5 to 6, and about 3 to 4 fully grown cats. 2 of the ones I sent are dead. Oh. Again, my condolences. You've got 4 cats left? Yeah, see, I think that's a manageable amount of cats for one to have at a time. But then again, my experience with cats have been exactly and only one, so... Had him for 19 years. It was the best thing that ever happened to my childhood. Or so I have memories. Right. I had the rest of the potion in my bag and continue my journey. I did not get this potion from a potion seller. Yes, I was quite dismayed because he couldn't make it to 20. He was a Norwegian forest cat. Had the most beautiful fur. The only time I've ever experienced fur of that quality was when I touched, what were they? Chinchillas, that's what they were called. That's the only time I've ever felt fur that's comparable to that cat. He was a beautiful cat. His name was Georgie, and I loved him. I loved those two. Like I said, they're the only breed I've ever owned, and if I ever find myself, I've touched a chinchilla, yes. They are very, very soft creatures. Do you know about them? They constantly need to be dry because otherwise their soft fur becomes moldy, so they constantly bathe themselves in sand. Are you a zookeeper or something? No, I've just had a very rich set of circumstances where I've been able to have pets and be in the presence of people with pets. I never had chinchillas personally, but I knew somebody who did, and I had the pleasure of interacting with them a few times. It was a nice set of moments. Chinchillas are very skittish, or at least the ones that I encountered were. I dismount and lead Dave on a rope. The pastures and fields are spread over an unnatural plateau. Humans must have been carving in the hill for generations, covering it in soil brought here in buckets and wagons. I used to have a tiger spider as a pet. Now, spiders and other reptiles are something that I am not experienced in or familiar with. How big is a tiger spider? That seems like a very large creature. Among the weeds and tall grasses, you spot rotting tools and a tunic. The pasture is overgrowing, and so are the fields. Some of the oats are ready for harvest. It depends on the gender. Well, what tiger spider did you in particular have, Kit? But their legs are very thin and long. Their torsos are small. Oh, that kind, like a Daddy Longlegs-esque thing. I'm trying to imagine and picture what it would look like in my skull. Add a small male thingy? Ah. I've always been fascinated by the prospect of owning a spider as a pet, considering arachnophobia is a popular thing for some people to have. I knew a guy with arachnophobia once. Something is wrong. I prepare my axe. The locked gate is taller than a troll, and you can't imagine climbing up the massive wall. For a moment you follow the path to the edge of the cliff. The roaring ocean is more than 100 feet below you. I called him Nicholas P. Dinklebottom. Very respectable name. You spot no one looking at you from the watchtower. No patrols of archers. The wall is occupied by black and blue birds of various types. You return to the gate and focus on the sounds. There are a few screaming ibexes. A young boy is crying. There's a cat stuck up in the tree. I knock on the gate with the handle of my weapon. The thudding scares away the birds. They call loudly, starting the cacophony of throats and flapping wings. After maybe a minute, you hear a bronze plate scratching against the wood as someone reveals the peephole. The strict female voice stops you from moving closer. Oh, this is Old Pagos. Traveler, Old Pagos is secluding, for it has been smitten by a deadly plague. Begone before you get sick. I nod towards the peephole and step back. From a distance, I introduce myself. You look into the young brown eyes that match the skin of the black-haired owner. While the woman looks like a southerner, she has a strong local accent. She follows you cautiously without blinking, like a fighter awaiting a strike. Salutations, Warden, and you're right to be afraid. We parted with 12 souls already. Others are spending their day sleeping, screaming from nightmares. I might get a snake someday. I've been craving... The kit yearns for the snake. Well, I hope it's a worthwhile endeavor for you. There's a kind of snake that eats egg. Oh yeah, that's another prospect of having lizards. Snakes in particular dine on rats. So, I've never actually looked into what kind of diets different snakes have, but if you can feed a snake eggs, that would be decent. I love that one. Where were we? You hear more footsteps gathering near the entrance. The monks in the north are masters of spells and potions, guided by the right themselves, even if they can't help us. May them be blessed, for they look after our ill. A weak voice of an elder chips in. My egg-eating snake will get scrambled eggs every day. I would imagine the pet would be very happy with the prospect of the owner cooking for it every day. Sounds like quite the luxury. Very nice. But considering you're an experienced pet owner, it's probably second nature to you anyway. Oh. The woman continues. You won't find shelter here. We ought not drown our other tribes with us, such as our duty. A pause. Even if they would not show us such kindness. Before I go, would you answer a few questions? Ask, but there's not much we can do for you. We see no one, we travel nowhere, we were born on this hill and will die here. After a few breaths, her eyes get kinder. I'm Tertia. If you bring any news, I'll take them to our council. I met Quintus, the gatekeeper. He's doing fine. Oh, so he's still with us. Her voice rings with enthusiasm. She asks if his well-being. She asks about his well-being, reacting to your story with a mixture of worry and joy. I'm sorry to hear about his nose. I hope he knows what he's doing. In his position, I would just look for work in Howler's Dell. Or ask for help from his friends at Pelt. Tell me about this illness. What does it do? She glances at someone or something that stands to her right. It lasts a long time. Even those who seem to avoid death remain weak for days. There are feverish headaches, red faces, red eyes, and a rash. Those whom we had to burn were sleeping and raving, unable to understand us. We got too weak to move or even drink. She looks down. Children and elderly suffer the most. Oh. Why don't you harvest your crops? I'm looking for Asterion, the previous Roadwarden. You can't tell anything from her eyes. Isn't he dead? I want to know for sure. If he's not, what else? Souls perish on the roads every day. We don't wait for him anymore. The best you can hope for is that he roads south. Oh, fair enough. What is it that you were waiting for? That's not much of a secret. She looks to her right. Then at you again. Head far east to the crossroads. You'll find a watchtower, an old building made of our stone. You notice pride in her voice. But hardly used since the war. Your friend wanted to turn it into a shelter, hire guards, patrol the roads. He took our key and rode away. He was meant to meet with us again, trade for materials and tools. Never happened. Any idea where else, who else would have such a key? Before it was completed, the builders were spending the rainy days in the coastal village in the far north, Gale Rocks it's called. Ask there. Were you bothered by any bandits in recent seasons? Not in years, Warden. They did attack us on the road once before, but their little pack won't come here. At first, her tone is gentle. But after she blinks twice, it turns solemn. Or they would have to face our anger. Our walls fear only dragons, our blades are made of steel. I can see why dragon bones are the currency of choice for this world. Dragons seem to be quite revered. Which way would you take if you were to travel to the Watchtower? The northern route, most likely. There's more tribes there, but the eastern road is dangerous, no matter from which way you're going to enter it. But if you care about time... She hesitates. You could check on the gate, the one guarded by Quintus. It's the most dangerous path, but your palfrey may be fast enough to get you through. You ask her what her thoughts on the gate, what her thoughts are on the gatekeeper, and she gives you a warm look. He may not be of the sharpest wits, but he's loyal to his duty and returns kindness with kindness. Like we all should. We should indeed. I think I'm done studying for now. Hopefully it was a productive session for you. Why don't you harvest your crops? Even though her cold gaze doesn't break, her voice betrays her pain. Some of our youth refuse to stay behind the walls. They say they need to leave before they fall sick. If we were to let them outside, one of them could refuse to come back. You frown. No, it wasn't pain what you've heard, it's shame. It was a bit productive, but you're distracting. It is an unfortunate side effect of my presence. You're too cool for me to pay attention to class. I aim to please. Even if I am distracting. I keep taking sips of water over and over again without realizing. I don't know why. Right. Well, that's enough of that. So, we found Quintus. We found Old Pagos. Oh yes, Who wanted to know about Old Pagos? Explore the peninsula. Check the... Ah, there we go. Foggy, the tavern keeper from the northern crossroads, is wondering why the... Oh, now I remember. I'm currently studying about hormones and the kinds of feedback. It's a bit boring, but I gotta memorize it all. Yes. Education does tend to wane. I was not very good at it myself. I am more of a creative soul, so... the monotony of facts and having to memorize things, and I don't even want to get started on math. It wasn't a good time for me. Or so I remember. I'm also creative, but I like money and stuff, so medicine is good. That is fair enough. I believe that medicinary is a fine path to take for one's profession. I also like helping people feel better. Well, you've helped me feel better. So you're doing a good job already. Keep going. It's quite a... what's it called? Noble endeavor you're doing. Oh... You're adorable. Right. Let's go back to Foggy and share with them what we know. The Foggy Lake. 4 hours. How many hours do we have? Many hours. Traveling. And the surface of the lake is restless, as am I. Enter the tavern. You smell food. There are empty bowls and mugs scattered about. Right next to the yada yada. I bring news from Old Pagos. They're not good. Listening to your tales, she rubs her forehead. Well, Not what I was hoping to hear, love, but I'm glad you went there. Better warn the other settlements. Folks should know before they send their own messengers. It's going to be a rough few seasons for us all. She pulls out a dragon bone from her pocket and tosses it in your direction. Here, good job. Thank you. Reminds me I need to put a hit pat eventually. She steps towards the ajar door and looks at the lake. Oh yes, food is something that I could definitely benefit from. Ironically, the bone I obtained, the dragon bone, is probably going to be spent on food. Want me to do anything else? She scratches the stump of her missing arm. Her powerful voice carries a hint of a threat. I need a soul who can handle a delicate task, and I'm not sure it's you, dear. Oh, she doesn't trust me enough for another job. Lovely. And by lovely, I mean unfortunate. I heard there's some bandits in the north. He makes an annoyed grimace. What can I tell you, dear? You know how it goes. Lost souls need a new path after an awfulness finds them, but the years go by and it doesn't get any easier. One day we take a pile of firewood, another one some bread and clothes. After they start hurting folks, there's no way back, even if they're not all that cruel. Cruel like gruel. I frown, but bite my tongue. If Havlaven sends its soldiers here, she may face consequences for supporting the outlaws. She may be right. Some bandits are just desperate. What is there that I can do to proceed? Yay, I've completed a secondary quest. Right, the Swamp Altar is supportive of Dew. Thais wants me to spy for her. Yes, she does. The Ruined Village. Glaucia's band, Orenthius the Necromancer. How do I make him trust me? I tried to report back to Thais, but Thais wasn't having any of it. I don't know if that's a bug or if I haven't done something. Fetching food for Quintus. I have no idea how to acquire food for myself, let alone for Quintus. A tunnel leading through the northern mountains is closed. Opening the gate would make this route safer. If only I had explosives. I guess I'll just keep exploring. I have 8 hours to do so. Traveling on. What's over here? Ooh. You ascend a gentle hill with green thickets coating the valleys. The path is like an endless bridge built by ancient three-legged giants, or maybe by the pagan spellcasters. The higher you get, the fewer plants you see. Hit by a cold wind, you adjust your cloak. I ride slowly, sitting in the center of the saddle. Mountains are harsh for horses. You approach the raised drawbridge and observe the face of the mountain. The hooks holding the hourglass are as large as a person, displaying their devotion to the right proudly. It took tremendous wealth and labor. What a waste of steel. The temples in the city are even grander. The rustling of leaves carries no songs of birds, shouts of apes, or whines of hunted critters. The river attacks its bank with a fierce roar. You get off your palfrey. The cave mouths are connected by paths, stairs, and bridges. You don't see any people, but there's smoke coming from one of the entrances, and you hear muffled thuds of a hammer. The gardens are weeded, the buildings firm. The green trees on top of the mountain bear red and brown fruits. The 2 rounded sticks are tied with a rope to a nearby rock. You grab them and take a closer look. They're claves. Enclaves. Hello down there. I say hello down there. Make a few firm hits with a shout and shout a greeting at anyone who shows up to a nearby building. I play a tune from a silly counting out rhyme. I love the bard responses. I love the play a tune option, so I'm going with that one. The echo of your hits cuts through the swashing stream. Soon, 2 hooded figures leave a cave mouth at the top of the mountain and give you a quick look from the edge of the cliff, then walk down the path quickly but with caution. It takes them a while to reach the buildings made of bricks, not logs, and covered with tiles instead of thatch. Little by little, the bridge gets looser, then it hits the grass gently. The shorter figure stays in the meadows, while the taller one steps outside. This is the place of reflection and prayer, traveler. The man's voice is hoarse but sonorous. The echo gives off an airy sound. He hesitates, but then points at you with his bandaged hand. Thou shalt show the due reverence. I nod and apologize. He lowers his hand. You're at Wright's Haven. Come. He turns around and returns to his companion. You lead Dave inside. The greeters take off their hoods. They wear brown, dark, simple, worn robes and ropes instead of belts. They've no jewelry or ornaments, just small bags of fabric on their shoulders. The larger shell belongs to a strong, barefoot man and in his 50s. Despite having no weapon, his eyes are audacious and could belong to a muscle standing in the door of a harbor tavern. His wrinkles are subtle, but there are only a few tufts of gray hair left on his greasy head. His skin is pale, covered with liver spots, though at a closer look you realize a few of them are just stains left by ink. I look at the second monk. The girl is about 14, with unsightly acne on her forehead and a robe that brushes the ground whenever she takes a step. Her back hair is tied into a humble ponytail. She observes your horse cautiously, cocking her head to a side, but once she catches your look, she meets your eyes boldly, raising her chin as if to challenge you. Thy mount is free to help itself with hay and water. We'll wait outside. Thou canst stay here for now, but leave before the night. The plague is nearby, the struggle ahead. While they indeed leave the room, their trust only goes so far. They observe you through the open door. The building is a single storeroom filled with crates and barrels, stacked of firewood and another one of bricks, a pile of straw and a chest, 2 wheelbarrows, and finally the racks, shelves, tools, clothing, and utensils. The light comes from the open gates, accompanied by the sharp draft. The shaft draft. The Court of Rhyme shall see you now. I tethered Dave near the water trough and joined the monks. I'm just one of you. I'm also a believer in the truth. I'm just like you. I need to put my medallion out in front to show you. The lack of walls makes you feel exposed. A few pairs of eyes observe you from the paths above you, while others climb to the very top. Or approach the unremarkable vegetable beds. Most of the dwellers wear hoods, and all of them wear similar worn robes. A chilling wind touches your neck. I'm not afraid of some wind. I put on my hood. They keep their distance. The man greets you by raising his open palm, wrapped with bandages that disappear underneath his sleeve. His lips form something between a sneer and a smile. "What brings thee here? Art thou a go-between?" The girl keeps an eye on your axe and occasionally glances at your boot, the one that hides a knife. "Hello, it's me, Bodhi. T, the new Roadwarden." "Good, well, the roads need their wardens, the folks need their roads. But there are none behind this mountain, and we take care of the one that you've just crossed. Thou dost not need to bother. Thy services are not required." He gestures for you to wait. "But where's the man with a red beard? There isn't enough work here for just the two of you." "Asterion, I was hoping to find him here." "I'm sorry to disappoint thee." He rubs a liver spot on his hand. "But he hasn't been here in months. We rarely have visitors different than our friends from Old Pagos. We don't invite the outside world, and we don't care much for it. Hast thou checked in the Pelt of the North on the southern road? If he's wounded, it's a safe shelter, I've heard." The girl scratches the ground on her boot. The girl scratches the ground with her boot, though it remains hidden underneath her robe. The man looks at her with amusement. "Looks like Decima here is eager to return to her duties. I'm Aelie, but I'll not shake thy hand. One of us could carry the plague in our flesh. Who can know, who can tell, what brings thee to our monastery?" Can I put a rod here? I've got some questions about the monastery. And what would those be? How does one become a monk? He lets out an amused grunt and clasps his hands together. "When one needs to join an order, they find a way. It's not taught thou wantest, but the stuff that happens to thee." Give me an example. "Oh, I don't know. Abandonst thy past. Throw thy pet down in the throw thy pet down the cliff and pray." You don't need even a hint of You don't find even a hint of playfulness in his voice. After a longer pause, he carries on. "I don't know what you can do to join a monastery. Show up, demand to join, throw your pet off a cliff. I don't fucking... Ooh. Does this place have a name, or is it just the monastery? Depends on who thou askest. It's the largest temple on the side of Hag Hills, and the only one beside the sacred cave in the Gale Rocks. He points at the huge hourglass. Is it Right Summit, or the Temple of Old Pagos, or High Caves, like they used to be for my nana? He rests his thumbs behind the rope on his waist. The tribes come and go, the names shift. For now, we all know what we mean by the monastery. Fair enough. Could I speak with your prelate? He crosses his arms and takes a look at the cave mouth behind him, then gives you a harsh look. If they were willing to see thee, they'd let thee know. I'm willing to prove that I'm trustworthy. We'll see. Maybe. Right. Okay. Moving on. Is there nothing you can do about the plague at Los Pagos? Well, his cough doesn't help his hoarse throat. We don't understand what makes it grow, but we use all the ingredients we found. Brewed as many potions and bombs as we could, and they worked for one afternoon. Then people were once again ill. Who can tell where the sickness dwells? A powerful healer could get rid of it once, and for all with a single spell, but no follower of the Rite of the North carries such talents. I'll seek a great healer, then. He rubs his hands together, pressing a thumb against his palm and looking at the sky. Such as the druids, the necromancers, the golem maker, dangerous souls with no reason to help us. This poor guy and his plague-riddled town. Oh yeah, it really is just called the monastery. And I need to travel somewhere where I can be safe. And everything is grayed out. You can't go there before nightfall. Oh, I can go to Howler's Delt. Excellent. So I do have a safety net of some sort. What can you tell me about Asterion? Let me think. He looks at the sky and clenches his fist around the strap of his bag. The first time he was here, we asked him to find us some iron in Gale Rocks. The second time, he did bring us a few scraps, but was wounded, a piece of flesh bitten away from his thigh. Said that 100-legged worm had caught him off guard in a meadow. Instead of his pay, we offered him a potion. And tell me about Gale Rocks. He hesitates, but finally nods. Just some seaweed eaters. Their soil is barren, but the strongest of them spend their days on the boats, among the sharp rocks. Those who can hunt for fish boil water to make salt. They trade with other villages, more than anyone in the peninsula, for crops, wood, and meat. He snorts. But they're weak folk, weak and angry, like a wolf beaten and kicked from a pup. Loud, ready to bite, but all it takes is for someone to raise their hand and it jumps away and whimpers. He lets go of his bag. At least they follow the right's teachings. Very glad that I picked the right. They seem to have a lot of villages under their command. Anything noteworthy about the iron he delivered? Scavenged from furniture. A few of them were rusty. No, who knows where he brought them. We melted them for nails. All right. I can't spend the night here, so might as well go back to the Dale. Might as well give him some more questions before I do. Do you know anything interesting about the path leading through the heart of the woods? I used to, but like all places that belong to beasts, it shifts every year. The only reason why it still has trails at all is that creatures use our roads as their own game trails. Only a dimwit would try to cross it now. After you ask him if he knows any such person, he takes a deep breath. Well, last I've heard, Quintus, the gatekeeper from Old Pagos, is missing or dead. He's a brute and an idiot. Can't understand jokes, can't stand weaklings. If thou ever meet him, just smile and let him speak as much as he needs to shut up. That's pretty rude. Quintus is a nice guy. He doesn't have any nose left, and I can relate to that. I'm trying to learn more about the local bandits. Then ask in the villages. He looks at the wooden entrance hall behind you. No group is going to bother us. They've got no understanding of our pneuma and potions. There we go. Eudycia, the enchantress, wants to place these rods in high points across the peninsula. Can you help me out? You've brought her magic here? He steps back while Decima turns toward you and reaches behind her back with one hand. Ailey's voice is close to a shout. No, Ailey's voice is close to a shout. The energy drink effects might be wearing off. Well, the power of caffeine is unfortunately temporary. I'm not that energetic anymore. Honestly, yours was a fine introduction. And your presence was very much appreciated. And no worries if you're not as energetic as you were when you came in. I am trying to establish sort of a chill vibe where you can just sit down and just listen to me ramble on without having to feel pressured to contribute. But if you do chat, I'll try to be here often. Thank you very much. I very much appreciate it. Oh, is this what it feels like to get regular? This is a very fun feeling. I enjoy talking to you. I enjoy your presence. You sound like a wise guy. What wisdom do I have to share in response to that? What do you call a potato that is watching a game from the stands? A spectator. Ah! Get it? Spectator. It's hilarious. I used to have a whole folder dedicated to jokes of a similar caliber, but unfortunately, with all the computer reinstalls and operating system switches, it has been lost to time. Your jokes are so good, but my delay is killing me. Yes, unfortunately, the Twitch servers do not deem me worthy as of yet, because I have a meager and humble offering for them. They don't even play ads. But I've heard that they might change that to play ads on non-affiliate channels soon, which I don't necessarily agree with, but eventually, once I reach the affiliate stage, there will be a time where ads play here, and I will deal with that as it comes. But yes, unfortunately, Twitch delay is a thing we must account for. Take it away before you put us all in danger! It's just a piece of bronze. His pale face starts turning red. The echo adds a thunder to his words. They're not asked for your thoughts. You think yourself a judge after you put your trust in that witch. He points at you with a bandaged finger. She's a beast in clothes. Its claws will tear away thy head. I bet she won't. Message received, violent monk. You know anything about the necromancers in the north? He rubs the liver spots on his forehead with his bandaged hand, looking with one eye at his short companion. This, and that. And the kit wisdom of the day is... what happens is not as important as how you react to what happens. That is very wise indeed. It is not right to try and control circumstances that are external and outside of our realm of control. What matters is what's on the inside. What we can control is how we react to things. What we have full control over is internally what's going on. Feelings, emotions, and we can control them so we don't respond harshly to events. I try to practice that whenever I can. It's a good philosophy to have. What do you think of White Marshes? I don't think much at all. As the tribe follows Orenthius, their priest, they're no longer our allies. Who knows, maybe he's the reason why so many travelers have disappeared on the roads. You sound smart when you say these kinds of things. Thank you, I try to be. Imparting wisdom is a difficult thing because everybody is on their own point in their journey, and some people may find value in the wisdom, or others already know these things and simply hear repetition. But if you say it, chances are it might help, so I might as well say it. Another piece of wisdom I can impart in my recent experiences of existence is that feelings are just that. Feelings, they are absolute, they just are. They aren't good, they aren't bad, they just exist. And you choose what to do with them. And the most important thing to do with them is to listen to them and accept them. You're very good at talking. Thank you. It comes with the territory. In my younger days, I used to be described as a theater child, and I did work in the back lines of several theater performances as a stage help. I was never brave enough to stand in front of the stage, in front of the crowd myself, except that one time, but we'll get to that story later. Point being is that I've always felt a lack in my life where I could just sit down and just wax poetic at something, and streaming is such an amazing opportunity to be able to do that. I can just be myself and do all my hoity-toity shenanigans in front of, well, least all myself. I was a theater kid. I used to be a narrator in the thingies. Oh! Individual after my own heart. I also dabble in narration. Had a bunch of YouTube shorts. Actually, on my YouTube channel, there is still a video from a year ago of me narrating some... It's actually a custom story that I wrote myself because I also dabble in writing. But I narrated that whole thing. And also, back in the day, in the younger school years, I have memories of making video presentations and narrating those. Because I felt much more comfortable with rehearsing and performing my voice in takes. But my voice isn't as nice as yours, not gonna lie. I used to have the exact same fear and problem in my yonder days. Back in the splendor years of 2009, playing Team Fortress 2 with my cohorts, I didn't use voice chat because I thought my voice was so high-pitched and horrible, I was embarrassed of it. But over time, with practice, it grows, and it turns into something quite nice that you could be proud of. My voice is so high because I haven't transitioned yet, but it's not high enough to be cool. I did used to be a singer, though. Oh. I remember receiving a compliment in, I think it was 3rd or 4th grade, that I had a great singing voice. That was very, very long ago. But eventually, especially when it comes to transitions and... I'm not very experienced in that field, but I feel like there will be a lot of things and changes that will occur that will allow you to have a voice that you could be proud of. Time will mend things. Do I sing? I tried to sing. There was a point in my so-called career where I wanted to write and orchestrate and sing a song for a person, but I am a creative person and I cover many fields. 3D modeling, voice acting, level design, pixel art, and general things. But music and composing sound is one of the things that I actually lack in. And have absolutely no talent or expertise in. So I wanted to write and sing a song, but I needed to find a guy to actually make me the music component to the song. So I found a guy, but unfortunately the guy, I fell back to sleep. I hope you enjoyed your sleep, Valkyrie, and I'm glad that I've managed to make an environment where you're comfortable enough to fall asleep. You're so good at many things. Thank you, I try. But anyway... So I got the guy to make me a song, but the problem is that the guy had such a air about him, ear like Mozart, and he didn't think that my singing was correct enough for his song, so he ended up singing the parts himself. So technically there is a song out there in the ether that shares my writing style, but it does not share my voice. Sadly, can't stay too long, but give me an a cappella song. I can't think of any examples at the moment. Hold on. I am looking it up. That's so mean, I'll kill them. For legal reasons, I am forbidden from inciting violence towards others. And do not, what's the word? Support the inflicting violence on others? In Minecraft. No worries. Well, it is what it is. Again, we cannot control what others do or what others do to us. We can only control how we respond. I'm sure your singing voice is great. Don't let them tell you otherwise. Great floating skull, why skull? I didn't take great offense to it. I was mostly disappointed that I didn't get the chance because it was essentially my project that I approached him for, and he sort of took it over and made it his own, which wasn't what I signed up for, but free musical talent is free musical talent at the end of the day. Those are the sacrifices one must make when they can't do something themselves, which is why I am very much happy that I managed to take the months to learn modeling programs and make my model myself. I don't have to deal with the middleman who actually makes the model. I make the model myself, and I can do whatever I want with it and change it in whatever ways I see fit. Where were we? Oh yes, I don't really know any acapella songs. The only... I have no experience of acapella, so the only thing that came to my mind was a barbershop quartet, and I was looking at the Cyanide and Happiness barbershop quartet, where they were operating on a patient, and the patient died. If only we... And then I forgot the rest of it. I do on occasion sing along to the songs I listen to. The beautiful Keck. I'm not that experienced, but have you ever sung on stream, Valkyrie? It's fine, you are safe. I have to lurk. Fair enough. You sound like you would be great at singing lullabies or something. I could see that happening. They are more of a soft tone and require a gentle and a warmer tone, and I have definitely, at the very least, edited my sound settings to reflect as such. I've actually got one where I participated in a karaoke stream somewhere. Oh, nicely done. I have yet to do such a thing for my own, in my own career, but eventually. I know where it is, and I was atrocious 100%. Oh. Don't think of it as you being atrocious. Think of it as a learning experience on your path to becoming a singer. Like Jack Black. That would actually be something that I would probably sing if I were to do a karaoke. I love Tenacious D. The metal, it cannot be quenched. So atrocious. It is what it is, my guy. It is what it is. Right. So what's your stance on necromancy in general? He pulls his fingers, gathering his thoughts. My stance? I don't need one. I trust the right. The dead makers must be weeded out. Their power brings only fogs. One may think the spellcaster is in control of the shells, but once they lose their breath, the dead are freed. Searching for blood, humans will never control the dead. Singing... fucked with an anchor. It's different when people haven't heard it. Yeah. That is quite fair. I do remember a couple of karaoke sessions of certain VTubers that I've seen. The first time I've heard the song was through the VTuber singing karaoke. And then I actually listened to the song myself, and it sounded vastly different than their interpretation. So, yes. And also, songs that I've heard of many times being sung by the same people, having different takes. Like, for example, one of them couldn't hold their high notes as much as the song demanded, so they actually had a break in the middle. And now every time I go back to that song and hear it again, I always remember their take on the song whenever that part of the song comes up. It's quite a fun way to immortalize a person in your psyche. Alright, any thoughts on Orintheus? He's mean. Let's return to the other questions. I'm going to go to the dell. As you descend, you think of Ailey's reaction to the bronze rod. You could ignore him and take a few minutes to tie it to one of the ledges just nearby. This place is already high above the wetlands. Let's be mean. There we go, I continue on my journey. Remind me later on Discord and maybe I'll find it for you. I am feeling teehee silly. Lurk time. See ya. I do have a lurk command. Haha. But yes, thank you for stopping by and farewell. I'm broke. Yay, it functions. I think I had an inkling to do an unlock command, but then I forgot to do it and it doesn't exist right now. He scowls at you, but points an empty basket. Go, Dave. Go to the main square. To the innkeeper. It is time for me to slumber. And sleep. The rains once again hit the ground, interrupting your sleep. Another day of muddy roads. And so, with 12 days behind us on our beautiful, fanciful journey, we shall call it a day. In terms of streaming. Blink and you'll miss it. But yes, I think that's enough for today. We have reached the appointed by ourselves goal. I am starving and have no armor. I'm dirty. Everything is absolutely abysmal, but that is problems for future Bodhi. Current Bodhi is ending stream. It was a great stream. I enjoyed this so much. I'm glad I met you. All of these things make me so glad and happy to read that I've managed to instill this reaction in somebody. So when I said that you've done well by me, I very much meant it. Thank you very much for stopping by. Right. So what order of business do we have now? We have this. And this. I'll make sure to get here as much as I can. But it's quite late. Yeah, no worries. If you find the time, that's perfectly... I'd be happy I'd be happy, but if you can't, that is also fine. The overlay is nice, I like it. Thank you, I made it myself. I see that the... Oh, I see. I think I can change the camera settings so the horn doesn't overlap. Oh, I can't wait for the 1.0. I can spoil one thing for the 1.0. I'm keeping the horns. You're so smart. If I had cheeks, I would be blushing right now. Unfortunately, I cannot blush with bones. I'm a strong, independent skull. I like horns, keep them, yes. One of the main things that I like about ram skulls is the horns, and they also look very imposing. I'll draw you as much as I can. That is very sweet of you to do. Right. What were we doing? Where were we? Oh yes, rating. Rating somebody. When you get... when you get a body, it's not easy to draw only a head. Oh. I will make the body. Soon. I am instilled with new vigor. How am I supposed to draw you as a Hatsune Miku without a body? Oh, I am looking forward to the day. Oh, that is a delight. I'm imagining it already because I have the design in my head, and I have a lot of reference points, but... Hatsune Miku body. Right. Need to save. And close. Yes. Right. Raids. You'll be the prettiest girl, Bonita, for real, for real. I am looking forward to it. Ah. There is a multitude of individuals. Good night, go eat something? What do people over here eat for breakfast? People over there. Generally my breakfast consists of, some pastries and a banana. But I've already had breakfast because it is currently, 11:36, so I shall have lunch once I am done with the streaming. And I'm going to make this... I think I'm going to make this easy on myself, so we are raiding... Hopefully. Yes, there we go. We are raiding Sweet Peach X. Over here we eat bread for breakfast. Good night. Many hugs. Ah, right. Well, there's your raid message if you want it. Get pill bugs. Oh, you are a funny character, Kit. I'm glad you stopped by. Right, well, we have an ending screen, so let's get right to it. Oh yes, I forgot, I have music. There we go, there's the music. So, thank you very much everybody for stopping by, and I will see you next week for more Roadwarden and Last Epoch. Last Epoch is dropping an amazing new update, and I'm going to play the shit out of it because I love that game. I have 200 hours on it already, and I can't wait to play it again. So, without further ado, take care.